going to open at 11 o'clock. It is a Taco Tuesday, not just the tacos, but a lot of different things we'll tell you about through the course of the program. Landrum Roberts, Pat Smith, Conrad Van Order, Molly Robinson back there at the studios, Jocks 94.5. Pat, how are you today? You are glowing, my friend.
I'm doing fantastic. 9 in a row for my Redbirds. How about that? The longest winning streak in Major League Baseball this season. How about that?
Yeah, and to do it against one of our hated rivals.
Yeah, helping you out, man.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Well, we do what we can. Your Braves got a big win last night, another walk-off.
Yeah, I'm done with Rael Iglesias. Rael, I think he's lost a step. Yeah, I'm currently hunting a closer.
So that should be on the shopping list?
Alex told me to get back to him. So
you giving him suggestions?
Yeah, I don't know. The averages are down, Pat. We got the win last night, which is good, but we're just not playing great baseball. Do you think you can help us out?
Well, I mean, we have a closer that would probably cost you a good amount of prospects if you want him. He led the National League in saves last year.
I feel like we've used all our prospects.
He throws about 102 if you're interested.
I don't think we have any prospects that you guys want. Yeah, I've got it. Eddie Rosario. Would you like him?
How about Chavez? Is he available?
How about Profar?
Chavez is always available.
I mean, is he in Gwinnett? Is he just like on the Gwinnett train?
Chavez is always on the table. If it's a cartoon character that we have to acquire in the trade, then Jesse Chavez could be in it.
You know, the gift that keeps on giving for the city of Dallas and our good friend Matt McLaren. Yeah. My goodness, the Mavericks last night, a 1.8% chance of getting the top pick, and they get it last night. A lot of conspiracy theories out there. I heard Conrad Van Order this morning with Damien. He was spouting off that this is rigged, that the NBA is like the NFL, scripted. Because there's no way, right? 1.8% chance of getting the number one pick in the NBA lottery draft.
There's a reason why there's that 1.8% chance.
It wasn't zero. The fourth lowest to win the lottery ever. The 1993 Magic. You remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Remember? A lot of question marks.
Oh, yeah.
About the ping pong balls.
Yep.
On the cell situation.
Were they weighted?
There.
Was there were they injected with something?
Yep. You can go down a big old rabbit hole on that one.
I think that has happened throughout local lotteries more than we know in the past.
You think so?
I think regulations now.
Is that why we don't have lottery in the state of Alabama?
I'd like to think that's the reason, but that's not the reason, Pat.
Yeah, I think you're right. 1993 Magic had a 1.5% chance of winning the number one pick in the lottery, and they got it, and they took Chris Webber. Back in 2008, the Bulls had a 1.7% chance. They took Derrick Rose. Back in 2014, the Cavs had a 1.7% chance, and they took Andrew Wiggins. So now the 2025 Mavs had a 1.8% chance, and they got it, and we all assume that it will be Cooper Flagg. So
it should be Cooper Flagg. He is a ready-made player.
So the GM goes from absolute being hated in the city, Dallas, and now looks like he will be a savior.
See what happens when Cuban sells the team?
I guess.
Just saying.
I guess. You trade Luka, and now all of a sudden you got Kyrie Irving, you've got Anthony Davis, and now probably Cooper Flagg.
Be honest, and I know we talk about it a little bit on the show, but how much of the NBA have you watched throughout the playoffs?
I've watched a lot more in the playoffs than I did during the regular season, and I think and that just goes because it's such a long season. I think a lot of baseball fans, or the non-really die-hard baseball fans like you and I, they start tuning in probably late summer or the playoffs. And for me, for the NBA, I start paying attention when they get into playoffs.
Yeah. Well, I can watch just a little bit, not full length, but a little bit of the NHL playoffs. Those always are, if I find myself skipping across that channel or landing on that channel. NBA's a little bit tougher for me. So I'm going to wait until we get to conference finals before I really delve in.
Fully dive in.
I mean, I watch highlights and I watch snippets. I can't invest in a game. And I'm not apologizing for it. I used to be a huge NBA fan, but I used to do a lot of things that I don't do anymore.
Your life has changed.
I feel like I'm better for it.
Speaking of the NBA draft, so a brand new mock draft came out by The Athletic. I know ESPN, I think, put one out as well. But I'm referring just to the one that I saw this morning from The Athletic. Right now, they have LeBron Philon as the 28th pick going to the Celtics. So that's a first-round pick. In the second round, they have Pettiford going to the Celtics. Would that be something? Philon and Pettiford both on the Celtics. Now, the Celtics would be via from Washington. So then at 33, which is in the second round, Yax Lindeberg, he would go. How about that?
At what pick?
3.
I don't know where that money is slotted, but I would say go ahead and go to Michigan.
He would be 2 spots ahead of Janai Broom, according to this mock draft.
I'm going to write down for you so you can figure it out, and I have this on good authority, what his deal is at Michigan.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if I have permission. I don't think I do to say it, but this is.
But you're going to tell me, and I'm not to mention what the number is. I would stay at Michigan.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal, don't you think?
Yeah, that's a really good deal.
Well, you have 2 of your bigs that are no longer on your roster. There's room for a big that's an impact player.
Yeah, payroll kind of lightened up a little bit and got room on the budget.
Isn't that wild?
That's a good number.
The ascension of Yax Lindeberg and what we've seen over the past 2 seasons.
That's amazing.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I just found that interesting how Philon at 28, you had Pettiford at 32, Yax at 33, and Janai Broom at 35.
Current college basketball coach said if it's a guy that is projected and they feel pretty solid about going mid-20s, let's say, a lot of those guys will get advice to, hey, you know what, go ahead and play another year of college basketball, and maybe you can be a top 12 pick next year.
Yeah.
And the coach told me that is silly. There's so much up in the air. There's so many unpredictables that he would always advise a player, if you're picked 24th, first round, go. 23rd, first round, go. So I thought that was very interesting.
Very interesting. Always on Tuesday, we love to talk to Mike Griffith from the AJC, covers the Southeastern Conference for that paper, also dognation.com. Mike, I hope you've had a good week. What's happening over in the wonderful state of Georgia today?
Well, speaking of very interesting, I was telling Conrad I just started an Instagram account for that beach house.
What?
Are you serious?
Yeah, right. I did.
Tell me the what's the Insta handle?
Well, it's Gulf Shores Getaway AL.
Okay, let me put that in my phone.
The thing, if people follow that Gulf Shores Getaway AL on Instagram, I'm going to give someone a free night with a 3-night stay. How about that?
Hold on. Wait a second. Wait. So
you've already booked, Pat. You're not eligible. Sorry.
Hey, no. But I am.
But Landrum is, right? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Well, Landrum, you were down there. Did you get a chance to go by it?
Yeah. You got a nice place. It's really nice. Yeah.
And you know what's cool? Like, the cool thing, now the beach is 60 yards away. There's, coastline in Alabama, which is, to me, just golden. But you got an internet cafe, like, right across the street. And so you don't really got to unplug from JOX, 3-man front. I mean, you can still listen every day. But I like to get up and go over there and get the coffee, get the bagel, and, like, pour through all my sports stuff. So, like, by 9 o'clock, like, I'm still plugged into the world. And then I take in the beach and the strip. So
do you have Ethernet capabilities there at the condo?
Oh, yeah, it's got internet.
So we could do the show from there.
We could do the show.
Yeah, as long as if there's Ethernet, we could do the show from there.
I could see you on that front porch doing that show in that complex. I could see that.
We can do this, right?
Absolutely, we can do it.
All right.
Rock and roll. I mean, it's just it's just too good to be true. I mean, what's better than a spring or summer? And people, like, they tell me Gulf Shores, and I haven't done this, but they're telling me October is, like, killer down in Gulf Shores. Like, the weather is still prime time. I think Georgia plays at Auburn this year. Somebody ought to book that for that Auburn weekend.
October is a perfect time because you still get that beach weather, Mike, and it's a little bit cooler, but all of the people that typically go to the beach have then gone back to their normal lives. You got school back, you got football season. It's a perfect time to go to the Alabama Gulf Coast.
Well, and so what's really cool about it for me is this is the first year I've owned it, so we got this clientele, and then my buddy owns 2 of these, and he's like one of these 5-star super host guys because I mean, he's a retired chiropractor, and this is what he does for a living. But he says, people book it, and then they get into this annual cycle. Like, that's their week. Like, that's their weekend. Like, they find time when their family, what works for their family. And, that's what you really want. Ideally is, you want people that take care of it, but people that, like it enough, return and, make it a thing. So and it's pretty much, I think next week, midweek is open, but it's pretty much booked the rest of May. But June, there's some weeks in July, and August is open right now. So, because I'm just now really starting to put it out there and advertise it. So it's all happening now, though. I mean,
you should be proud of it. That's a very nice place.
Well, I am, and it's labor of love. I mean, I've been doing this for like 15 years, just as a hobby,
Yeah.
And now I've been able to get a really cool property in Alabama, and so it is exciting, being an Alabamian and having the connections, and you want your friends and family and folks to enjoy it, and I like doing your show every week, and the people listening, I think the people that go to the beach would probably like that. So it's up and running. So there's my public services statement, and
perfect.
Now we can talk public services about most anticipated Georgia games. So I put this poll up today, and I thought this was really interesting.
Don't tell me Alabama's not number one. Don't tell me that.
No. Well, now the choice, you got to remember, they play Texas at home in November, mid-November, a game that will certainly have some implication on the SEC title game. And they got the cocktail party. Florida, Georgia is a big deal.
It is.
But yes, Alabama's number one.
Yeah,
that is the game. That is the game that all the Georgia fans want to see. The highest ticket price right now is Texas. I think it's over $600 get-in price.
Wow.
I think the Bama tickets are over $500 right now.
Man. All right, so Alabama is number one. Texas is number two. Who comes in at number three?
Yeah, easily. Yeah,
Florida.
Florida's minimal. Yeah, Florida's
And Georgia Tech's number
right
4,
now.
right?
What's that?
Is Tennessee 4?
I didn't even. You know what? Out of respect to the other school, I didn't even put a fourth option on there. I didn't.
You didn't?
Off Tennessee fans, no.
Oh,
because
okay.
because Neyland Stadium is still. You guys know I spent 14 years there. Neyland Stadium is still. Neyland Stadium is a better game day environment than Bryant-Denny. Period. It is. And I love the Bryant-Denny environment for Texas until Texas beat Nick Saban by 10 points. But that's a whole other story.
Are you talking about the crowd?
Huh?
You're talking about the environment,
No,
the crowd in game, or around the pageantry outside of the stadium, or all encompassing?
Yeah.
He's talking about Gay Street. He's talking about the Vol Navy. Is that what you're talking about, Mike?
Yeah, because the Alabama crowd was incredible for that Texas game. They didn't let you down. And that's like the one game Quinn Ewers looked like a first-round pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Georgia walk-on safety got drafted ahead of him. But that was the one – it was like Quinn Ewers pitched a perfect game that night. I'll never forget it because the guy kept making these deep throws after McElroy gave us the book. Like, this guy's not accurate on the deep ball. Well, that day he was. And I still can't believe what my eyes saw. I kept waiting for Alabama to come. It's like, okay, they're coming back. All right, yeah, there's no way they're going to. But the crowd was roaring. It was a fantastic crowd. But, yes, when I talk about game day, I'm talking about Vol Navy, checkerboards.
Yeah.
And, all that kind of stuff, marketplace versus.
The ghost of General Neyland. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's just a little bit, at Tuscaloosa, they need to do something there. They need to do more around. It's still, it's a great it's a beautiful campus. But in terms of like surrounding area and places to go, it's not up to par with and Tennessee's doing even more now. I mean, they're building something similar to like what they have around Truist Park, where they're going to be putting some sort of landing.
Yeah, isn't Manning involved in that? Isn't Peyton one of the developers?
Great.
If there's money involved, I would say that's a pretty safe bet. Peyton is he's an amazing spokesperson and advertiser and businessman. So they got they just they got everything. They just don't have a quarterback. I mean, they want to they spend hundreds of millions of dollars on the amenities, but they don't want to spend $2 million on a quarterback. It's absolutely, it's really ridiculous. And it's a sign of the times to me. I was doing a story. I'm working on the story on Georgia had a guy drafted by the Falcons. It's kind of been a thing that the Falcons haven't taken Georgia guys, and they finally got a guy in the first round, Jalen Walker. Pretty good linebacker. And And now there's outcry from the Falcons fans that he might use Julio Jones' number. Well, you know what? Julio Jones was a hell of a receiver. I mean, he's fantastic. But he didn't win a Super Bowl. And so it's like, okay, your time came and went. No, by the way, you held out in 2018, and the Falcons gave him like another $3 million to make him happy. And everybody's like, oh, hooray. And then the next year he got a $66 million contract, and he had one good season, and that was it. So, Julio may not have the retired number, but he got paid. And I'm looking at this, and I'm going, okay, well, Julio Jones gets an extra $3 million just because he threatens to hold out. Nico does the same thing at the college level. And everybody wants to pretend like, he wasn't their number one quarterback and they didn't play him number one through the spring and he didn't endure concussions and, poor support cast. It's just so different in terms of how he was treated by Tennessee versus how Rick Barnes was treated when he threatened to leave. If he wasn't the second highest paid coach in college basketball, never mind, they hadn't been to a Final Four since 2004 or whatever. Everybody's happy to pay him. I mean, it's like, folks, you better get used to this. These quarterbacks are going to command some money. And, what do they say? Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. I don't even know where that's saying. That had to be painful. Somebody did that at some point probably. But it was just a bad decision, and, everybody felt good about it. Oh, yeah, Tennessee said, well, how do you feel about it now? You got some guy from UCLA coming in there. It's going to be a first-time starter, and he's going to open SEC play against Kirby's defense. How are you going to feel about that? Urban Meyer's doubled down and said Tennessee made a bad decision. I'm glad somebody said it. I agree. I think Nico was a talented enough guy that, if he was on the field against Georgia, I'd say their chances would have been a lot better than they are now. All that said, who knows what's going to happen this season? The SEC is such a crapshoot. Football, baseball. Look, Alabama gave up 19 runs to Georgia. First game of the series, came back, won the next two games.
Yep. Sure
you look at the softball tournament. Last week you had 8 of the top 10 teams down here in Athens, and everything was in play. Number one pitcher in the league gives up 6 runs. Tennessee's pitcher throws 78 miles an hour, a couple mistakes in the field, boom, 6 runs put up. Tennessee eliminated. Things happen fast, man. The league is so balanced and so deep. I had a chance to catch up with Greg Sankey on Saturday. The championship game was rained out, unfortunately, so A&M and Oklahoma split it. But, if you're Greg Sankey and you look at what you've created right now, the depth of the SEC has never been better. And we didn't even bring up basketball.
Yeah.
It has just never been better in this league. It just means more. And it does.
It really does. Mike, hit everybody up one more time on the brand new Instagram account that everybody can go follow. What's the I know we've already followed it on the show, and me and Landrum have already signed up for it. So give everybody an opportunity.
That, guys.
Yeah.
It's at Gulf Shores Getaway AL.
Perfect.
At Gulf Shores Getaway AL.
And before me and my family come down there for our few days of relaxing at the Griffith Estate, I will send you some things that I require.
There we go.
When I get there, just to make sure that everything is hunky dory. So.
Oh yeah, we'll take care of you. You already asked for all the Auburn decoration in there, right? Is that
yes.
Wait a minute, we weren't supposed to talk about that.
No. Rubber sheets.
No, I'm sorry, that was the Kubelik reservation.
That was the Kubelik reservation. Yeah, no doubt. Well, Mike, listen, have a great rest of the week, and we look forward to catching up with you again next Tuesday. And we will push your Instagram account, and folks need to take advantage of it.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I look forward to it, and looking forward to seeing how SEC baseball finishes up. We can get these seedings figured out, and see how the SEC is going to dominate that sport in the postseason.
They will. Mike, have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Appreciate it. That is Mike Griffith joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Here live from Social Taco.
Yeah, all of our guests joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, Pat. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
When we come back on Three Man Front, we've got our own poll question out today, and it's another overwhelming audience participation, and they are sending a message on what Commissioner Greg Sankey should do about the 8 or 9 game conference schedule. We'll talk about that next. We're live at Social Taco. This is Jocks 94.5. It is 10:23, Jocks 94.5. We're live at Social Taco in Homewood. Come on by and see us.
Is that the smell of your new bronzer?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Thank you for noticing.
Yes.
Got to get ready for the beach.
Yeah.
Got to get that, since I'm so Anglo. Saxon, that is.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it.
Very Anglo.
You're very Anglo.
Yes. A reminder that tomorrow, the morning show, Mac and Cube, they will be live at the Regions Golf Tournament. It is Pro-Am Day. In the 7 a.m. hour, you're going to get to hear Nate Oates, Bo Jackson, A.J. McCarron, Hugh Freeze. 8 a.m. hour, Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, Kalen DeBoer, Charles Barkley. Those will be some of the featured guests tomorrow morning on Mac and Cube.
When do Tim Brando and Stan White tee off?
I don't know if Stan White and Timmy B will be playing tomorrow. I've not got the pairing sheet out yet.
One of the moments from that tournament's past.
That was Charles Barkley.
And it's okay to talk about it because he's okay.
Yes, but that was kind of a iffy situation that day.
Well, we've got a long summer of heat and humidity ahead, so keep your home comfortable with Trane, America's most reliable HVAC brand. And to give you more peace of mind, Trane is offering up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Trane home comfort systems. So to learn more about this offer and to find a specialist near you, go to Trane.com.
All right, so the NFL is going to release its full schedule on Wednesday night. Now, yesterday, we already got a couple of morsels that were parceled out by NBC, Fox, and Prime Video, including, we mentioned it yesterday, Dallas and Philadelphia. What a heck of a game to start the NFL season. That's on Thursday, September the 4th. It's been over a quarter century since the Cowboys and Eagles have played that early in a season in Week 1. Fox announced that the Eagles versus Commanders, Packers and Bears, that is going to be a Saturday, December 20th doubleheader. But here's the interesting part to that, Landrum. The college football playoff has a triple header that day. So college football, the playoff, and the NFL will go head-to-head on Saturday, December 20th.
Well, from the NFL perspective, you could say, wait a minute, we did have kind of a deal in place, but you guys have adjusted your schedule and your format, and that's moved some of these playoff games back to where we used to view meaningless bowl games. So if you're the college football playoff, you really can't complain about it. They played nice until you changed your system.
So you'll have the college football playoff triple header going directly against a doubleheader from the NFL, the Eagles, Commanders, Packers, and Bears. So that will be very interesting to see how the ratings end up amongst all of that. Prime Video yesterday, they announced on Black Friday it will be the Bears and Eagles. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff. And then Christmas night, it will be the Broncos at Chiefs. That's a 7:15 kickoff on Prime Video. Now, earlier this morning, ESPN, they're having their upfronts in New York City. They announced Monday night football game on November the 10th, the Eagles and Packers. Do you see it's a theme developing here? A lot of Eagles games.
Got a lot of Eagles.
Yeah, a lot of Eagles already being announced. Now, here's the interesting part. The NFL Network, who they have the exclusive foreign broadcasts that you're going to see. So Week 4 in Dublin, you've got the Vikings and the Steelers. It's very interesting. The Steelers had already been announced that they were the home team because Ireland is their country of designation in regards to marketing purposes.
The Roonies.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the Steelers are the home team, but they're taking on the Vikings. And if anybody knows anything about medieval history, the British Isles and Ireland was dominated by the Vikings from Denmark. Isn't that kind of interesting?
Yep.
Kind of a little historical tie-in there. Now, the very next week, in Week 5, in London, the Vikings are going to stay over there. Now, how about that? Now, we've seen the Jags do that multiple times because, the Khan family, everyone thinks that they want to move the franchise to London anyway. But the Vikings, Week 4 against the Steelers in Dublin, then they're going to go over the short pond over to the main island of England, and they will take on the Cleveland Browns in Week 5. Week 6 in London, it will be the Broncos and Jets. Week 7, Rams and Jags in London. And then we're going to get our first game in Berlin. That is Week 10, the Falcons. We'll bring a little grits over to Germany as they will take on the Indianapolis Colts. And then Week 11 in Madrid, the first ever game in Madrid, Spain, we'll have the Commanders and Dolphins.
Okay.
So Tua Tagovailoa taking on Jane Daniels. How about that?
How many wives and girlfriends go over for this trip?
I think
especially the ones where they
I think they
play
take both.
Games. Take both.
I think the players take both.
I was going to ask you. This is great news for the wives, bad news for the girlfriends.
No, they find a way.
you go ahead.
Separate
And
flights.
set up in
Yes.
London while we play the game here.
Yes.
It's horrible to say, but golly, it's absolutely true.
So we're waiting official word, but in week 1, we know we're already going to get this game. The Chiefs and Chargers, they're playing Brazil. But the feeling is that it's going to be announced that it's going to be a YouTube game, but it's going to be free for everyone.
Didn't we get Packers-Eagles in Brazil? Was that a preseason game?
No, that was the real deal.
Well, that was a
year.
real deal, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was on Fox. Or it might have been CBS. I can't remember. I was already watching college football.
Yeah, me too.
But 7 games this year played overseas in the NFL.
It's growing. Mm-hmm. This is Goodell's vision, right?
Absolutely.
And we're getting closer and closer with the abundance of games and then spreading them around.
And we talk about this all the time. The NFL does it better than anyone. So, I mean, they are each day this week up until Wednesday night, they're going to throw you these little teasers. You know, today, again, we got 6 announced international games. And then tomorrow night, tomorrow, CBS and Netflix will announce early in the day a couple of selected games that they want to highlight. And then tomorrow night will be the full schedule release.
Wait until President Trump lets the cat out of the bag today in Riyadh.
Oh, that there's a franchise moving to Riyadh?
Something. Let's get a game here.
Is that the word?
No, not yet. It could be, though. They're putting on quite the visit.
Man.
He might promise him some stuff.
Did I see right that they brought in a mobile McDonald's unit for him?
That's awesome.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It looks almost like a food truck.
No, let's describe it, though. This is a 18-wheeler. This is a semi pulling what is an outfitted, it looks like a long cargo shipping container that apparently is a mobile kitchen inside of this thing. It's really impressive.
Very much so.
They probably had that made just for him in that visit.
Well, what happens when he gets over there and he's like, I was in kind of a Burger King mood today?
Melania's got me on a diet.
Yeah. We are live at Social Taco. Come on by and see us. The doors will officially open up at 11 o'clock. I'm sure that will allow you up here on the Taco Terrace if you want to come a little bit early so you can get a good seat, because this will fill up fast up here at Social Taco. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to go to Charlotte, North Carolina. No, we're not going to talk to Paul Feinbaum. We are going to talk to Doug Bell from PGA Tour Radio and the CBS Sports Network. We will talk to him about the upcoming PGA Championship there at Quail Hollow. Later on in the show, Jonathan Nelson, the general manager of the Birmingham Barons. And then, of course, we will talk to our good friend Nick Kay from AL.com. He will join us here on site at Social Taco as we will talk Alabama football, Alabama basketball. He was at the trial last week, so we'll ask him some legal things that potentially could happen to Darius Miles as his case yet to be tried. All that up on a very busy Tuesday Social Taco. This is Jocks 94.5. It's 10:35, Jocks 94.5. Pat Smith, Landrum Roberts on site. Molly will join us here in just a little bit. Conrad Van Order, high atop Red Mountain, keeping us in line on this beautiful, thank goodness, man. It was absolutely a toad strangler last night in Trussville trying to call 2 baseball games.
Did you get it in?
Yeah. As long as there's no lightning present, man, we are playing baseball on those synthetic fields now. They're just unreal. Just the drainage and.
What are you wearing? Do you have you got like a windbreaker?
Well, so 2 weeks ago I called a game and it was pouring down rain, and so I immediately in between games I'm online at jerrydavis.com, which is a good
old Jerry Davis.
Yeah, the umpire. He has a website that by ump attire.
Okay.
And so I immediately ordered me a umpire rain jacket that I could wear out in the field.
Does he have like old school modeled mask that you can buy, like a Dutch Rennert?
You know,
Dutch Rennert had.
Yeah,
it almost was like a World League
so.
of American Football face mask.
Yeah, I don't think so. So anyway, I ordered me a jacket, and so last night I leave the house to call a 5:30 game, and I'm like, you know what? Patchy blue skies, nice cotton-looking clouds. I think I'll be all right. But I put it in the car. And so where we park is kind of up a little bit from the ballpark, and so I'm down there, and we're about halfway through the game, and it just becomes a biblical-type storm. No lightning. It's just, I'm telling you, the kids love it.
You're waiting for the animals 2x2.
Yeah, I mean, the kids are just, like, absolutely going crazy. This is great. And meanwhile, me and Kevin, my partner, out in the field, we're just like going, oh, my gosh, we're absolutely just getting drowned. They're trying to keep the baseballs dry. I mean, it's a whole thing, but the kids love it. Once again, no lightning. There's no safety issues, just really raining hard. And I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, my jacket is in the car.
Never helps when it's
Why
in the car.
is my jacket in the car? Why did I not bring it down here and put it in a dugout? I was just, and so literally, but then it had rained so hard that we actually suspended play for about 10 to 15 minutes because it was starting to puddle up on the AstroTurf. I mean, it was not draining quick enough. I mean, that's how bad it was raining. So we sent both teams to the dugout. So I run up there, get my jacket in. Thank goodness that I came back down, and then we had another couple of heavy downpours. So the jacket was beautiful. But the moral of the story is that I should have had it on the field.
It doesn't help if you get it just a little bit closer, but it's still in your car and you can't grab it.
So it's just nice to see the sunshine and no rain today.
If there's a threat of rain, though, I think a lot of it has to do with people don't want to lug around that umbrella or to have people judge them like it's not going to rain. But then when it does, everybody wishes they had it.
Well, the thing of it is, and you've done this because you used to umpire, especially this time of the year when it rains, and then all of a sudden you've got another game to do.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of guys will have a whole wardrobe in the back of their car. I do not. And so I was fortunate that I had my jacket. But just calling that second game, even with my jacket on, and I'm soaking wet. My pants are soaked. My shirt's soaked. And it was just.
But I know the parents, they love, and the umpires too, they love having the synthetic fields. The rain-out rate is basically non-existent.
Yep.
And, I mean, parents, you get your kid ready. You get them in all their gear. You take time. You say, no, we got a game tonight. You get up there, and the game's called, and then you got to go back and do it again on a date later. No. I think the synthetic fields for the places that have been able to do it, that's been big.
Yeah, I know Homewood's had them for a couple years now, and Trussville, this is the first year that Trussville has had them. So it's a game changer, man. It really is. It's good stuff. We know owning a home is great, but it can come with its share of headaches. Some of you out there are having foundation issues. Cracks have started showing up, those doors and windows. They just won't close right. You can't ignore it because those issues will get worse over time. That's why you need to call Alabama Professional Services, 205-951-9717. It'll be the best decision you've made to protect your largest investment, which is your home. Call APS again today, 205-951-9717. Visit their website, alabamaprofessional.com. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. Been around since 1977, solving some of the most interesting and problematic issues around your home. That's Alabama Professional Services.
Our buddy Doug Bell at the top of the hour, live from the PGA Championship there in the state of North Carolina from Quail Hollow. We'll get to some other news around the college sports world that you need to know. Three-man front live from Social Taco. The doors opening 20 minutes from right now here in the Square in Homewood on Jocks 94.5. Welcome back. We are live from Social Taco. The door is officially opening 15 minutes from right now. It's Taco Tuesday. The mix and match, $4 tacos all day long. Any combination, as many as your heart desires. Also the Mexican pizzas, the burritos, the quesadillas, chicken feathers to get started, or guacamole. Add bacon. It's always better with bacon. Half off happy hour, 3 to 6 out on the patio. Hopefully the weather is good later on this afternoon, but we know it's going to be really, really good here for the next 3-4 months in the warm weather and all the beautiful people. Come and join us at Social Taco. Also want to remind you, you can join our friends at Russell Marine. You don't want to miss the Russell Marine Smith Lake Open House coming up. That's May 19th through the 24th. And you can check out the larger, new, and improved showroom with the expanded lineup of boat brands. View boats from Sea Ray, Key West, Sportsman, Nautique, Godfrey, pontoon boats, Creval, and more. Special pricing on all inventory and 20% off in the pro shop. You register to win great prizes at Russell Marine, Smith Lake. That's the open house, May 19th through the 24th. You get all the details at russellmarine.net on the events page and follow them on Facebook.
Okay, so we have some college football schedule news to pass along. This just out moments ago. The SEC ACC opening weekend kickoff broadcast, and this comes in conjunction with the ESPN upfronts that's going on, so they have just made this announcement. So August the 30th, that's a Saturday, you're going to have Syracuse and Tennessee. That game is in Atlanta. That is going to be a noon Eastern game. How about 2:30 Birmingham time, Alabama at Florida State. That's on ABC. LSU and Clemson. That's going to be a 6:30 game on ABC on that night. And then you'll have August the 31st, you'll have, which is a Sunday, South Carolina, Virginia Tech in Atlanta. That is a 2 o'clock kickoff. So there you go. So
noon, Tennessee and Syracuse, is that correct?
That will be 11 o'clock our time.
All right.
Yes.
And then is it 2:30 Bama and FSU?
That is correct, yes.
And then 6:30 LSU and Clemson.
That is correct. And then on Sunday it will be South Carolina, Virginia Tech in Atlanta.
I can get down with that.
You like that?
Yeah. Yes.
You like that? Bama a 2:30 kickoff?
2:30 kickoff. I like that.
I'll take it.
Newly renovated Doak Campbell. You don't want to catch Conrad. You don't want to catch Gus Malzahn game planning for 7 months and getting a night game.
No, you're right. I would have been trembling in my boots if that was.
And that time of year, the sunset will set later, so you're in good shape there. I'm starting to change my prediction.
Well, it's nice too because Dave and I can then
wins.
drive back right after the game too. It'll be great.
Well, I was going to ask you, does that mean does that give you guys enough time to tailgate with that early morning? I mean, you don't have to be in Doak Campbell pretty early. I mean, I know it's a 2:30 kickoff, but does that give you guys enough time that morning to get up and?
When does Renegade walk? When do they do that?
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, you get out, you start tailgating around 6. You walk into the stadium at 1 for a 2:30 kickoff. That's 7 hours of pregame.
Wait a minute.
Tailgating. That's
1 o'clock
great.
for a 2:30. What are you doing before the game? You got club level?
What, just hanging out?
Hanging out
Yeah.
for an hour and a half?
In the stadium? Well, you got to go through. You got to check in. They got to go through the scanner. You got to find your seat. Got to go get a beer or two from the concession. It's a process.
I go make some new friends, introduce myself at different tailgates.
Well, that's,
an hour and a half
that's
is a
Dave's
lot.
job. Dave's the FSU guy, so he'll know everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So what time did you get to?
Norman.
Yeah.
Like when was I on campus before the game, you mean?
No, when did you get into Gaylord or whatever they call that stadium?
The stadium. We were there, about an hour before kickoff.
Hour before kickoff. Okay.
Yeah.
When you, as a fan, and Major League Baseball doesn't count, but what is your normal arrival time inside of stadium?
Well, I can tell you this. Growing up and going to Busch Stadium in St. Louis, my father would literally have us the moment the stadium opened up for BP. Like, I was in the stadium hours before first pitch.
Yeah, but baseball's different. I'm saying for a football game when you're not working, when would you used to go in? Because as a kid, we would go in and we would watch warm-ups.
Probably a
We'd
couple
watch
hours.
the band come out for the final time. You got national anthem, and then we kicked it. So maybe 40 minutes, 35 minutes until kick time. Now it is so tough for me to sit in a seat, and it always has been.
I think my brain's also just trained from when I was a student, and it was first come, first serve.
Makes
sense.
sense.
I mean, we would literally be in the stadium 4 hours before kickoff so that you could have a good spot.
Oh, we had to do it, and especially when I was a pledge fraternity freshman year.
You had to go and save a row of seats. Yeah.
Oh, we had to wear sport coats.
Oh, yeah.
It's about 108 degrees. Yeah, and you just stand there in the sun, just beating down on you.
Yeah, I saw
and then
a few
you
of
had
those
a 3.5
guys getting
hour
carried
football
out.
game to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to recap, and then we'll tweet this out, but Saturday, August the 30th, 11 a.m., Syracuse, Tennessee, ABC.
Okay.
2:30, Bama, Florida State, ABC. 6:30, LSU at Clemson, ABC. Then the next day on Sunday, August the 31st, 2 p.m. kickoff, it will be South Carolina, Virginia Tech in Atlanta.
All right, I've written all these down. Where is the – refresh my memory. Where is LSU and Clemson?
It's at Clemson.
It is at Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, and it's on campus.
Man, that is a – oh, man, Brian Kelly. I do not like the way that one sets up. I think Clemson's going to be really good.
I think you're right. I watched a little bit of an interview with Dabo Sweeney yesterday from the ACC spring meetings, and you can just tell that he's got that, oh, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
you can tell he's confident.
Yep.
In this
he knows
team.
what he's got.
Yeah.
And one thing that he does, and he's been criticized, and rightfully so at times, for his reluctance of the transfer portal and acquiring you guys, but his retention there has been great, and I think that it's a rarity now in college football, but you're going to see that play out on the field. A lot of guys that have played a lot of football together, and that continuity is going to pay off. Plus, they play in the ACC.
Yes.
I digress.
Very much so. Yesterday, Jim Phillips, he is the commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference. He sat down, and he was asked about the Presidential Commission. Can Nick Saban and the rest of that commission, can they do something positive to get college sports back heading in the right direction?
I think they can help us. I really do. We have been very bold in the desire for a national standard when it comes to name, image, and likeness. We need to make sure we have something that comes out of Washington that connects all 50 of the states, because we've had a piecemeal project, and it's really undermined college sports, and it's been a race to the bottom. What you can do in one state is what you can't do in another state. There's 35 different interpretations across the country. So that's one. Two is we need some legal protection. We cannot sustain one legal case after another legal case after another legal case. And so I think that commission can help us there. A reaffirmation that these are student athletes. And yes, they're going to be compensated, which they well deserved. And I think everybody's excited about this idea that you can get up to $20.5 million and distribute it across your athletic department. But there needs to be this idea, this reaffirmation again of that these are students first that also play a sport that are being compensated. I don't like when we don't talk about academics, when we don't talk about graduation rates, and that being part of the overall experience. So that reaffirmation. So those three things, to me, will be very important to see if that can come out of the commission.
I mean, God love him, and I understand where he's coming from, but
it's not happening, Jim.
It's not happening. And is this the leadership? Is this the guy that you want looking at the future? And look, it is a dog eat dog world, especially now, and it's an arms race. And I agree with what he said about it's. We talked about it when the APR report came out about Akron. It was the last time you even heard grades or somebody failing to qualify academically. They're not going to be able to play in a game. You never hear it anymore, and it has been lost. And the reason it's been lost is because of the amount of money that these kids are getting paid. I appreciate what he's saying, but he's going to have to get with it.
Spoken as a former Northwestern athletics director, he just has not let that go, and it's a different time now. And if he thinks that Nick Saban and the billion-dollar booster from Texas Tech is going to sit down at a commission and talk about the APR scores first and foremost, no. He is badly mistaken.
What I would love for him to be in some of these conversations where you've got a coach talking to a player or whatever exchange, second party, off the field assistant, go between that's talking to a player about landing a third year, fourth year guy to transfer from one school to yours. How many times does academics actually come up in that? Or it might be, hey, you're required to take 6 hours. We got the perfect course for you.
Yeah, I'm a marine biology major. Do you have a good program?
Yeah, there could be some instances like that, and I'm sure there are.
9 times out of 10, that's not happening.
No.
It's how much money are you going to give me?
Right.
Well, Cardell Jones said it best 10 years ago that, you're not going to college to play school, right? They're going to play football and to hopefully become professional football players.
Like, prime example. So Yax Lindeborg, he graduated with my son 2 weeks ago. He walked across. He got his degree. Major kudos for him to do that, okay? He is now wrestling whether he's going to go to Michigan as a graduate transfer. I would love to know what he's going to work on his master's degree. Do you think that is a major decision in Yax Lindenborg's career or life-changing situation?
No.
Is, okay, what am I going to study as a graduate to get my master's degree at Michigan? What am I going to do here? Or is he debating whether –
he's one of the first from his family to even attend college.
Yes.
And then
he
on
got
top
his degree.
Of that, and good for him. Proud of Yax for doing that.
Yeah.
But no, that's not a big part of the conversation. Right now, it's NBA or lucrative deal at Michigan.
Yeah, that's your choice.
You got a degree.
It's not what kind of graduate program that the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor has to offer, but people like Jim Phillips in that line of thinking, I mean, I guess it just
APR is not ruining college football, Jim.
No, it's not. It's the amount of money that you're paying these kids and you're not getting a return of your investment. That's the problem. By the way, speaking of the ACC, Bill Belichick will be on SportsCenter at 1 o'clock today, live from ACC spring meetings.
Does Jordan make an appearance?
I would love it if she is sitting right next to him.
Where's the shot going to be? Is it going to be inside or is it going to be outside?
The shot they had with Dabo last night, that was inside the hotel.
Yeah. Do you think she bombs the shot?
You think she just walks
by?
Walks in the
Does
background?
she still have the sash on from the pageant?
Yeah. She's got her third place sash on from Miss Maine. All right. Doug Bell's going to join us next live from Quail Hollow in Charlotte, North Carolina. PGA Championships coming up. Could Rory McIlroy make it 2 for 2 for majors in 2025? That's all next. Three-Man Front live at Social Taco. Come see us.
11 o'clock, we are live at Social Taco. Dr. Mel is here. Larry is here. Don is, of course, here. He is the mayor. Chris is here. He just rolled up. And we also have Johnny. And I believe that's Greg that's hanging out as well. So
yes.
Come and join us. The doors are open. It's a Taco Tuesday live here in the square in beautiful Homewood, Alabama.
Absolutely. Let's go to Quail Hollow. Let's go to Charlotte, North Carolina, the PGA Championship. Second leg of the 4 majors in the PGA. Doug Bell joins us from CBS Sports Network. You can also hear him on Sirius XM PGA Tour Radio. Doug, how's the weather? I know the course was shut down yesterday for patrons. How's it looking for the rest of the week there at Quail Hollow?
Well, the weather's kind of like it was in Alabama, where it was bad for a couple of days, and now the weather's kind of clearing out. So the course is open, the players are out on the range, and it looks like there's a chance for a thunderstorm maybe this afternoon. But for the most part, the weather's cleared, and actually the forecast looks better as the week goes on. So that's good news for the PGA Championship, which tees off on Thursday.
Doug, you being here from Birmingham, and you've played, I would venture to guess, almost every course here in the state of Alabama. I know that Quail Hollow is a former dairy farm that they created a golf course on. Is there a course around here as far as layout, maybe scenery, that you would compare it to?
Well, I mean, you can compare it to Shoal Creek, certainly, and it has a lot of similarities with Shoal Creek. It's a bigger golf course than Shoal Creek. You know, Shoal Creek is somewhat confined down in the valley there. And they've tried to lengthen it over the years. And again, it's just they're confined because the property only goes so far because of real estate. But Quail Hollow is an absolute gem, guys. This is when you walk to Quail Hollow and walk on the property, it's like, wow, this is what a major championship venue should look like. And the city of Charlotte takes great pride in it. And the one thing I'll say, remember, at Shoal Creek, back when we were hosting those PGA championships, and we're talking maybe like 35 years ago, that's when corporate golf really became a thing. And suddenly people were like, wow, we could make zillions of dollars if we get all these corporate hospitality areas. And what they have at Quail Hollow is unbelievable, guys. I've never seen so many corporate hospitality areas in my life. So, yeah, somebody is benefiting monetarily. Not me, not you, but somebody's benefiting monetarily at this PGA Championship.
Doug Bell joins us here talking majors as the PGA Championship gets underway later this week there in Charlotte. Okay, so let's talk about Rory McIlroy coming off the green jacket win in Augusta. He has really played Quail Hollow very, very well. If I understand this correct, he has won close to $10 million throughout his career in prize money on that course alone. So needless to say, Vegas loves his odds this week. Tell us what you think about Rory this week.
Well, Pat, he's won 4 times at Quail Hollow. A year ago he won, and he drove it in areas that nobody's ever driven it, up and over corners. He just bombed it over these tall trees. And he's the best driver of the golf ball in the world. And listen, I've seen a lot of these guys, and with all due respect to Tiger and some of the other greats, he is the best driver of the golf ball I've ever seen. And he's a little guy that generates so much power and so much elevation. But it's a golf course where they have a lot of holes that bend right to left. That is absolutely perfect for a big towering draw that Rory specializes in. So if there was a golf course that was built for Rory McIlroy, it's Quail Hollow. And he has said it many times, this is his favorite golf course, and that's not hyperbole. He means it. And I think he comes in with a great deal of confidence, knowing that he's had great success here. And his first win on the PGA Tour many, many years ago was at Quail Hollow when he was just a kid and his hair was billowing out from his cap underneath. He's a favorite for a reason, guys, and he is having the best year of his career. He's only 35 years old, but he's won a lot, and I wouldn't – listen, come Sunday, the final 9 holes, his name will be somewhere on that first page of the leaderboard. I have no doubt in my mind.
What about a guy like Scotty Scheffler? Know that he's steady Eddie, but I saw earlier in the week, I think that his odds were around 5-1. He's normally going to be up there. How does this course fit his particular game?
Well, what's interesting about Scotty Scheffler, and at the beginning of the year, he wasn't winning, which everybody, drew the red flags, right? But in reality, he cut his hand around Christmas, guys, and we kind of scoffed off, oh, whatever. He'll be fine. But it took him several months to recover. It was a pretty deep gash from what I understand, and it took him a while to get the feeling back in his hands. And then 2 weeks ago in Houston, tied the 72-hole scoring record. He was a zillion under par. So he's kind of back where he belongs up there on the top. And he took last week off. He decided last year when he won the Memorial Jacks tournament and then goes to the U.S. Open, he said, I'm just too tired to play back-to-back big-time tournaments. So he took last week off. So he comes in a refreshed golfer, a healthy golfer. And it's interesting. Listen, he's number one in the world for a reason, but the way he hits the golf ball doesn't set up quite like it does for Rory. But I suspect he'll be somewhere near the leaderboard, if not in the league, come Sunday. But again, I just think the golf course sets up better for Rory than it does Scotty Scheffler.
Talking to Doug Bell, joins us from Charlotte, North Carolina. The PGA Championship coming up a little bit later this week. All right, so let me ask you about Bryson DeChambeau. This is an individual that was in the running there on the final day in Augusta. He kind of faded, had some issues there on the back nine. So tell us how DeChambeau and this course sets up for him this week.
Well, guys, in baseball terms, this is a home run hitter's golf course. The longer hitters have an advantage, just the way the golf course sets up. And all those things I said about Rory, same thing for Bryson. The only thing is Rory's a little more accurate, but Bryson is going to just take that driver and hit it a country mile, and then he's going to go take his caddy and go, let's go find it. And then they'll go from there. That's the way he's going to play it, very aggressively. It's fun. Remember, he won the U.S. Open at Pinehurst in North Carolina a year ago, last summer, so he's back in North Carolina. And, the sad thing about Bryson is he plays on LIV, and we don't get to see him often enough. He's so much fun, and we've kind of seen him grow up, and he's matured, and he enjoys the limelight and really ingratiates himself with the crowd. He's great for golf. I hope we get to see him more in the PGA Tour in the future. But, again, here's the deal, guys. Pat and Landrum, when you're talking about the PGA Championship, it is so difficult now to win any tournament on the PGA Tour. But there's only a couple of dozen guys in my mind who are capable of winning a major championship. Courses are so tough. Competition is so keen. Everybody's got the same equipment. And we're not going to have any long shots. And, again, I harken back. Pat, you remember Shoal Creek. Wayne Grady.
Yep,
came out of nowhere. We're never going to have another Wayne Grady. You're never going to have a long shot win these major championships anymore. And I think that – is that good or bad for the game? For us who handicap, it makes it a little easier. Again, you can go way down the list and pick a long shot, but they're not going to win on this golf course against this field. So we'll see what happens. But, again, DeChambeau, Scheffler, Rory, JT, John Rahm, the usual suspects are going to be at or near the top of the leaderboard heading into the final round Sunday.
Doug Bell joining us live from Quail Hollow, the site of this year's PGA Championship. All of our guests join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. I know that they're all big as far as majors, and they're all coveted. But if you ask most players, how would that go as far as the most coveted majors? I would think that Masters would be there at the top. Where would a PGA Championship fall with most of those guys, if you had to guess?
Well, what a great question. And I've asked guys this before, and, European guys tend to say, well, the Open Championship is the greatest thing, you could possibly win. And then Jack Nicklaus many, many years ago said there's no greater championship than winning the United States Open because I'm an American. But I think, to answer your question, the guys that I've talked to, and Rory said it best when he finally won the Masters, that's the one he wanted the most. They want to win the green jacket because, you're part of history, and very few men have ever donned the green jacket. And so I think the Masters is one. I think the United States Open is probably two because it is such a difficult test. I think the Open Championship is special because it's across the pond, and I think the PGA Championship is fourth, although I will say since they've moved it now to May, moved it from August to May, it has raised in stature, and and this week, for example, out of the top 100 players in the official World Golf Rankings, only one guy is not here, Billy Horschel, because he had hip surgery. So the field, it's more competition in this PGA Championship than compared to the Masters. But I think to answer your question, I really believe the green jacket is what all these guys want.
I wanted to ask you about the ongoing negotiations between LIV and the PGA Tour. I read this morning where PGA of America's CEO Derek Sprague, he said that he welcomes LIV Golf to submit a new application to the official World Golf Rankings point system. I know that was kind of a bone of contention a couple of years ago because they're not going to be recognized by the World Golf Rankings. What are you hearing, Doug? You're there each and every week amongst the ropes with some of the higher ends of the PGA Tour. Are we going to finally get this worked out between LIV and the PGA? What's going to happen there?
Well, Pat, great question. Again, our president is in Saudi Arabia right now.
Yep.
And, of course, he's heavily involved in these negotiations, although I doubt very seriously the LIV Golf situation with the PGA Tour has come up amidst all that they're negotiating. Maybe they are. I don't know. But I think what we're seeing now is at the end of this year, all of the contracts that Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, et cetera, John Rahm, all these contracts come to an end at the end of this year. So will the Saudi Arabian Golf League, will PIP decide to go ahead and re-up for another 3 years when right now nobody's watching them on television? They even though they're on FS1, the ratings are minuscule, if not non-existent altogether. So it's a business decision. Are they going to re-up with these guys? And ultimately, these guys want more money. Are you going to pay them more money to continue this other tour, or will cooler heads prevail, and will they come to some agreement with the PGA Tour? And I think ultimately now the PGA Tour holds all the cards, guys. 3 years ago they didn't. Right now they are. Popularity has increased. Ratings have increased. The digital network, PGA Tour Live, more people watch that than any other digital platform in sports. So the PGA Tour now suddenly holds all the cards, and I think LIV will probably coexist, but they'll have tournaments outside the United States, perhaps in the fall. And I think maybe opposite football season, we'll have some LIV tournaments. And I think all this will come about probably in 2026. And I think there will be some coexistence. And I think some of these big names like Bryson DeChambeau and others, I think they ultimately will play both tours. I think LIV will continue to pay them, and I think the PGA Tour will welcome them back in some capacity. And in some of these bigger signature events, we will see Bryson DeChambeau. We will see Brooks Koepka. We'll see John Rahm playing with the PGA Tour. And ultimately, as a fan, that's what we all want.
Doug, with the announcement of Michael Jordan joining NBC, what are the chances that we could get Tiger Woods in a similar role for one of the networks covering golf?
Boy, I don't know. Tiger's got a lot going on. He's got a new romance going on. He's got a lot of business ventures. I don't ever see Tiger doing that. Interesting guys in Birmingham this week is the Regents Tradition, our very proud stop on PGA Tour champion. Tiger turns 50 next year, guys.
Oh, wow.
Do you think Tiger's going to be playing on the Champions Tour? Some people think that he'll play the majors. Some people think that he wants to win another USGA event, and the USGA seniors would be pretty impressive on his mantelpiece, considering he's won all the other USGA events. I just wonder, do you ever think we'll get Tiger Woods playing the Regents Tradition at Greystone? Is that possible, guys? And I'm curious to hear what you guys say.
If it is, that'll be the largest number of patrons you've ever seen there.
Don't you think Gene Hallman is on the phone right now with Tiger's people trying to work that out? I mean, hey, Doug, you remember this because you're the sports director at CBS 42 because you remember Gene Hallman brought Tiger's dad in, Earl Woods, remember?
Yeah.
And had events and gave speeches and things of that nature. So there is a relationship there. So it would be interesting to see if Tiger really would end up in Birmingham one day. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool. And listen, you know Gene. I know Gene. We all know Gene. And, yes, if there's anybody who is capable of making a deal, other than our president of the United States, it's Gene Hallman. And I think Gene could certainly get with Tiger's people and convince him just once. Can you come just once and play the Regents Tradition? And he could ride in a golf cart. he doesn't have to walk. He can ride in a cart and play 4 days here.
That would be fantastic. Well, listen, I think it's going to be a great week. Hopefully all the rain will get out of there in Charlotte. It's a beautiful course. It's going to be just a great tournament. As always, Doug, we appreciate you joining us the weeks of the majors. I know you're slammed for time, but we appreciate your insight, your analyst, and it should be a fun week. Thank you again.
Thanks, Doug.
Anytime, guys. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. That is Doug Bell joining us. You can hear him on Sirius XM PGA Tour Radio, also all of his golf analysis. They're on the CBS Sports Network.
Dobbs Ford, right there on Parkway East in Birmingham. It is Joey Goshen, Rachel Goshen. They're the husband and wife managing partners there. Their son, Austin, in the sales department. The entire team at Dobbs, you're going to get first-rate customer service. That's what I always tell people. Even if you don't walk away with a new car, truck, SUV, maybe a pre-owned, you're going to appreciate, and I can say that with 100% confidence, how you're treated the entire time you're there throughout the whole process. Dobbs Ford, they've got everything that you want as far as inventory. It's Alabama's largest showroom selection of inventory, but also right now they've got Ford employee pricing. That's right. You're going to pay what the Ford employees pay on select makes and models. Also 90 days until your first payment. You can't beat that. Dobbs Ford. Go see and feel the difference. DobbsFordBirmingham.com. When you get there to Parkway East, make sure you tell them Landrum from Three Man Front sent you.
When we come back, we're live at Social Taco. Man, the terrace is filling up quickly.
It is.
Told you.
Yep.
I mean, it's great. It's wonderful seeing a lot of our listeners taking advantage of coming up here and having a great meal at lunch and talking sports with us here on Jocks 94.5.
He's here.
Corey is here. Good to see Corey. And the great folks here at the Taco Terrace. Come by and see us, Social Taco in Homewood. This is Jocks 94.5. It is 11:21, and it's now raining. I was bragging about the weather, and then look what happened. It's raining.
I need it for the fertilizer I put out in my yard.
Good to see BB and PG. They're in attendance.
BB is always so well put together.
Love the hat.
Ah, it's a great hat.
Molly should be here in a minute, and you know what? She really dug the hat that BB had on a couple weeks ago for the Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
So I bet you Molly might be eyeing that hat as well.
It's a good sun hat, but it's got a little bit of like a safari flair to it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
She's very beige today.
She is.
Yeah, very much so. We told you a little bit earlier, but a college football schedule leak has come out this morning. The SEC and the ACC, some opening weekend games have now been announced, game times and the network. Starting on Saturday, August the 30th at 11 a.m., it will be Syracuse and Tennessee. That game is being played in Atlanta, Georgia. That will be seen on ABC television. At 2:30, Alabama will take on Florida State. That is on ABC. At 6:30 that night, the triple header will finish up on ABC as it will be LSU at Clemson. Now on Sunday, August the 31st, it will be a 2 o'clock kickoff between South Carolina and Virginia Tech. That is also in Atlanta. That will be on ESPN. So some early games being released by the ACC and the SEC because the Disney Corporation had their upfronts today in New York, and that's why we're getting some of these announcements.
Is it a clean sweep by the SEC in the 4 games involving SEC teams that you just mentioned?
No, Clemson knocks off LSU.
I'm with you there. Mm-hmm. That's my early.
And South Carolina beats Virginia Tech. So the SEC goes
3-1.
3-1 over the weekend. That's my prediction, my early prediction.
For the games that we already have TV times for, right?
Yes.
Because you got some other big matchups that weekend involving SEC teams.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Auburn and Baylor.
Yep.
They haven't announced the time for that, have they?
That's a Friday game.
That is a Friday game.
Yep. They moved it. So, yeah, some of these games have been released because of you're having all the major networks release their fall programming, and so they're kind of giving these little morsels to the media of what's going on, and that was the announcement earlier this morning. Braves last night, they win 4-3 against the Nationals. If you listened on Jock's 94.5, this is the way it sounded. Let's take you to the most important inning of them all, bottom of the ninth.
Steadies the bat, waiting on the 3-2 from Chafin, winning run at second, 1 down in the ninth. 3-2 pitch. Swung on, ground ball up the middle. Let's go for a ride. Here comes Eli. Across the plate standing. Braves win. And to the rhapsody of this roaring crowd, they celebrate another walk-off victory as the Braves win it 4-3 after the walk-off knock by Verdugo in the ninth. Never gets old, does it?
How about that?
I think their last 8 games have all been decided by 1 run.
That would be 7.
7? Well, I'm making a prediction for tonight.
It's going to be 8?
1-0. Come on, Swelly.
All right, so the Braves have alternated 1-run losses and 1-run wins in 7 straight games. That is the longest such streak in Major League Baseball history. That has never been done before, Landrum, so congratulations.
Woo!
As the Braves, thanks to Verdugo, Conrad is absolutely – he is so jealous right now of what Verdugo is doing for the Braves. He could not even remotely do that.
Doogie was – he had really tapered off, and then last night – He found it a little bit. I think he went into the game hitting 241, and after last night going 2 for 5 with a couple of base knocks and then that RBI to win it. I think he's at 250.
Would you
just have him there? But everybody else needs to pick it up. Ozzie Albies cannot swing out of a wet paper sack right now. Go ahead, Conrad.
Well, I was just going to say, if y'all are open to it, we have an outfielder by the name. His last name's Judge, I think. If you wanted to make a swap for Verdugo, because he just seems to have that clutch gene that we've been looking for there in New York. But no, on a serious note, good news for you, though.
We don't need the guy that got carried off in the stretcher.
Oh, no, that was very, very bad for Oswaldo Cabrera. But the good news for you, Landrum, is Acuna starting his rehab today.
Yep. Keeping an eye on that one.
So how long do you think before he is up and ready?
I think they will go 3 weeks.
3 weeks, huh?
I think he's ready by beginning of June. Don't rush it.
So we will see him before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And
I think so.
How about Strider?
Barring any setbacks. Strider, yes. Strider said he's ready to go, but they're going to have a simulated game with him instead of sending him because they can control some things where he's got to field his position and you know about all that. We should see him very soon. Say next week.
Next week?
Maybe.
Okay. Very good. Coming up later on this program, we will have Jonathan Nelson, the general manager of the Birmingham Barons, as they get ready for another big homestand. Then we will also talk to Nick Kelly, who's going to join us live here from the table here at Social Taco. Joining us now is Molly Robinson. Molly, you had to traverse a very, very busy crowd here on the Taco Terrace.
Yeah, for 11:30. I mean, normally we have a good amount of people by this time, but I feel like normally we see this crowd like closer to noon.
Yeah.
But and on a rainy day too, it looks good. But you're
good,
right, I had to
doesn't it?
dodge a couple people, but that's never a bad thing.
Not at all.
You dodging them like you didn't want to talk to them?
No. Just it's crowded.
I think
and
physically
I had to,
she was trying to avoid that.
And I was trying to get to our table.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way.
She threw some elbows like the Detroit Red Wings, her favorite hockey team.
That's exactly right.
You got to go crossface.
A lot of high sticking. That's what was going on. Are you excited that Bill Belichick is giving an interview today on SportsCenter?
Oh, I cannot wait.
Do you think Jordan will be anywhere in the vicinity? Do you think she'll be like off camera? She'll be back up in the hotel room? What
Will
do you think?
she be there? She's her, she's his creative muse. Of course she'll be there.
She'll be there?
Yeah.
Okay. This should be fun.
It's going to be.
Here's the thing, and I shouldn't talk bad about our brethren in the media, and I guess I'm going to be critical, but I imagine that Mark Packer is going to be the one that's probably doing the interview with Bill Belichick, and this will be the biggest softball fest you've ever seen in your entire life.
Well, no doubt. And if Jordan's there, he's probably been given the questions he needs to ask or focus on.
Well, see, that's what I'm hoping for is somebody actually goes, hey, well, Jordan's here. Would she be open to taking a couple questions? And she's a big part of this process. Not that that would ever happen, but we can dream.
Well, this is one thing that he is doing in regards to his media tour because he's doing today on SportsCenter. Then he is sitting down with Michael Strahan on Friday on Good Morning America. So Jordan is booking these these interviews.
Booked and busy.
The time to ask her questions that she's never going to answer, even if you have to ask them, if she did a sit down, the time to ask those was the other night at the Miss Maine pageant. That was a time when a judge could ask her a direct question and she would be forced to answer.
That's true.
Yeah.
We missed our opportunity totally.
While they're trying to get in front of as many eyeballs as possible, can we find out a way to reach out to Jordan and see if Bill will come on our show?
FSU Dave has just texted me, and he tells me that according to Ira Schafel from warchant.com, Jordan is not at Amelia Island at the ACC.
Not yet.
There you go.
That's true.
Not yet. Interesting. You think she's still up in the in Maine?
She's still in the ice tub
family.
after the pageant?
She's
Could
still
be.
grieving?
Could be too.
Interesting.
Could be spring cleaning at the museum.
I hear P-Town's great around mid-May.
Oh.
You think she made a stop to P-Town?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her mom might have handed her the dustbuster and said, hey, get to work. People pay to come and look at this stuff.
Well, just think about the influx of tourism that has now affected the museum after this.
No, we've done a pretty good job of promoting it.
I mean, the
Arrows,
the
if
number
you're
of
in the area.
hits from IP servers in the Birmingham metropolitan area has been through the roof.
Can you imagine
goodness.
the different people that will go out of their way just to go in that store to try to talk to her mom?
No doubt.
You Jordan's mom?
Can I get a selfie?
Maybe that's what this all was. This was all just a promotional gimmick for her mom's store. This had nothing to do with Bill, nothing to do with North Carolina. We're just trying to raise those profits in P-Town.
Maybe so. I'm seeing more and more people that are coming out and saying they don't believe he ever coaches a game.
Yeah. Pablo Torre yesterday, absolutely. He thinks that there's an excellent shot by June 1st. He is not the head coach of the University of North Carolina.
Do you think that there is – now they're going to clean house, or is this an opportunity for Steve to maybe take over the reins? Because at that point, you're really putting North Carolina in a tough spot. You don't want to go, and who are you going to go and hire at that point? You got to have somebody from within.
Yeah, I mean, it might be
this might
internal.
be the biggest ruse ever pulled off.
Yeah.
You force the hand of Bubba Cunningham.
Yeah, you're right. More from Social Taco. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. Come on by and see us as the Taco Terrace. There's limited seating. It is filled up, and we appreciate all the fine folks joining us here at Social Taco. More from Social Taco in Homewood. This is Jocks 94.5. It is 11:35, Jocks 94.5. Welcome back in. We're live at Social Taco in Homewood. Come on by and see us. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. A great crowd. Always happy to see everyone coming by and seeing us here at Social Taco every Tuesday until 2 o'clock. So we're just talking about Bill Belichick. He's scheduled to be on at ACC meetings in Amelia Island, Florida, coming up a little bit later this afternoon. He's got a sit-down coming up with Michael Strahan on Good Morning America on Friday. Well, Las Vegas has just put some odds out about what you should expect from this upcoming interview. Are you guys ready for this?
Yep.
Born ready.
Which will be wider? Must be a tear or rip on Belichick's shirt for action. A gap between Michael Strahan's teeth, which is plus 700, or a tear or rip in Bill Belichick's shirt, which is minus 2,000. So which will be a greater margin? The gap in Strahan's
Wow.
teeth
That is really.
or Bill Belichick's rip of his shirt?
That's kind of uncalled for.
I mean, wow.
All right, where are you going? I'm about to fire in. I need some advice. What are we doing?
I don't know. It looked like in the CBS interview, that rip on the Navy shirt was pretty big.
But
Yeah,
is he
what's-
going to wear that again, though?
No, but I'm just saying for the size of the rip.
Yeah.
Apparently, they didn't like the fact that he wasn't wearing North Carolina gear.
Shocker.
I'm going to go gap with Strahan.
See, me too, because I don't think he's going to wear another rip shirt
Okay.
twice in a row.
That's plus 700. You get some good return on that bet. All right. What top will Belichick be wearing during his Good Morning America interview? Will it be a button down, which is 100, a polo shirt plus 300, a hoodie sweatshirt is also plus 300, or just a T-shirt? That's plus 400. Where are you going, Molly?
I'm going hoodie sweatshirt.
All right. Hoodie sweatshirt, and that is plus 300.
I'm going to go, since my guess was not on the board, which would have been a Visit Maine sweatshirt.
P-Town?
Visit
Now,
Maine.
that would be
I heart P-Town?
Yep.
that would be fantastic.
I will go. I'm actually going to go golf shirt.
There you
So
go.
you're going to go polo golf shirt.
Yeah,
That's plus
begrudgingly, but
300.
he's wearing it.
All right, Conrad, where are you going?
Short sleeve hoodie all day.
Yeah.
All right, that's plus 300. All right, next question. Primary color of Belichick's tie during the GMA interview. Is it going to be baby blue, minus 200, or navy blue, plus 150? That's assuming he's wearing a tie.
I was about to say,
Okay.
so no tie's not an option. Okay.
If he wears a tie, navy.
Yeah, probably navy.
He's not going
Not Carolina blue?
No.
Nope. He's not giving in.
Okay.
Yeah,
What'd you
you're
say,
probably-
Conrad?
I'm gonna go baby blue because I think after the first interview, they're like, hey, Bill, we gotta figure out this wardrobe situation.
All right. Which school will be on Belichick's clothing during the GMA interview? Will it be North Carolina, minus 1,000, Navy, plus 300, or the Patriots, plus 2,500?
Given those options, North Carolina.
I wish Bridgewater State University was an option.
That'd be good.
That would be. Or Hancock County.
Or Hancock
I'm
County.
going Navy. I think he keeps the like he might bend the knee with a tie or something like that, or an overcoat. But yeah, Navy shirt.
See,
Absolutely.
if it's not Bridgewater, I agree with Conrad. I think I'll keep the Navy.
He doesn't care.
What
No.
do you say?
Navy.
Navy.
No.
North
He's-
Carolina?
Yeah, if he's wearing something with a
minus
school on it, it's
1,000.
North Carolina.
All right.
He's not doing the Navy again.
How many questions will Strahan ask Belichick's girlfriend? The over-under is 1.5.
I take
Zero.
I take the under.
Take the under.
Zero.
Yeah, none.
Think he chickens out? Doesn't
I don't think he chickens out. I just think there's an understanding. Let's not go down that road. And Strahan's like, yeah, I don't have time
Yeah.
to fool with it.
See, I would take the under 1.5, but I do think he will ask one question about her.
Oh, about her. Yeah.
Is how many times Jordan interrupts the interview? Is that an option on the board?
I'm going down the list. It may be. I have not seen it yet.
I would like those odds better than if she gets asked a question.
Yeah.
All right, well, here you go. Jordan Hudson's in the next one. What will happen first during the Good Morning America interview? Jordan Hudson makes an appearance, which is plus 150, or Tom Brady makes an appearance at minus 200.
Ooh, Tom Brady.
I like the odds on that one.
Wait,
Now,
that's
see,
Tom
minus
Brady.
200 for Tom Brady to be there?
Yes.
Oh, man. Okay, well, then I'll go with that. I guess Tom
Yeah.
Brady's going to be there.
But see, what's so odd about that is because Tom Brady works for Fox.
Right.
And this is an ABC
That's
show.
true.
That's what I was thinking. What if this is an intervention, actually, for Bill?
Oh, that would be
This
something.
is not an interview. It's actually an intervention
Yeah.
live.
Live TV.
Yeah,
That would
they
be-
used to do that show.
Like Edelman and all these guys just start coming out, and they sit around the couch.
And then Gronk's like, Coach, even I wouldn't have done this, man.
I was like, get Gronk in
Even
there.
I wouldn't go this far.
All right. Who will Michael Strahan mention first during the interview? Robert Kraft, plus 110. Jordan Hudson, minus 150.
I'm going to say Jordan because what if he introduces it with, it's good to see you. Obviously, Jordan's here too. Bring her up sometime in the beginning.
Okay.
I'll go Jordan.
Yeah.
You go Jordan.
See, that's why I was going Kraft, because I feel like they'll do a long introduction of, these are all the things you've accomplished in your career, and they'll probably bring up the Patriots and all that. So.
Oh, y'all are going to love this next one. What will Michael Strahan say first? Gold digger plus 200. Sugar daddy minus 300.
Oh, sugar daddy.
I like sugar.
It's a little classier.
Mm-hmm.
It says we're having fun. Gold digger is I'm taking all your money and I'm waiting for you to die.
What do you say, Conrad? It's 11:45. Jocks 94.5. We're live here at Social Taco. We'll be joined by the general manager of the Birmingham Barons coming up.
Well, the SEC baseball tournament will be here before we know it. And right by the Hoover Met is our friends at Big Whiskey's. They're a great place for great food of all varieties with a full menu with multiple apps, salads, burgers to steaks. They also offer different food and drink specials for each day of the week. They have happy hour, and their kitchen is open late every single night. So go check them out in the Stadium Trees Village off Highway 150 near the Hoover Met.
Joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline, the general manager of the Birmingham Barons, Jonathan Nelson, joins us on the hotline. Jonathan, I hope you're doing well, and I know you're excited about the Cardinals' 9-game winning streak, the longest in Major League Baseball this season. So I appreciate all the nice text messages you've been sending me.
Yeah, the over/under on that leading off the little segment was pretty high. But anyway, congratulations. You know, a 9-game winning streak any time of the season, but right now I know that's great. So good for your Cardinals, and it's just obviously with baseball and everything right now, it's a really fun time. And whether it be college baseball, high school baseball, or obviously pro baseball, you know, sort of hitting our stride with the season and everything else going on these days.
And congratulations to the big club. They've really distanced themselves from the Colorado Rockies, who are absolutely awful this year. Are the Rockies the worst baseball team you've ever seen?
Well, I mean, you got to sort of hold your breath and sort of just wait to the bitter end and see what's going to happen. You know, obviously, you know, firing Bud Black over the weekend, you know, that seemed to be a very, you know, it had to be done. They're pretty bad, obviously, but obviously the White Sox historically, you know, standpoint last year were pretty bad too. But it's so encouraging to see the White Sox do well and take, you know, little steps. I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs, and they're not going to be certainly a contender for the World Series, but they're making positive steps. They're allowing their young players that have played here, a lot of them. And I mean, Tim Elko, a huge part of our team the last couple of years, part of that Southern League Championship last year, you know, got his first big league hit with a home run this past weekend. So really excited about that, and some of the pitchers and obviously the position players that have continued to progress up to Chicago. So just excited to see the White Sox take some steps forward, and hopefully in a couple of years they'll be on a level to where they can legitimately contend for a divisional title and a playoff spot.
So how cool was it that Tim Elko, the former captain of the Ole Miss Rebels, a former Birmingham Baron, his first plate appearance as a Chicago White Sox, he just went yard. He had all that planned, right?
You know, he's obviously has a reputation, the captain of that Ole Miss team, like you said. I mean, a bona fide natural leader, whether it be at Ole Miss or I imagine any of the teams, and certainly here in Birmingham when he was here. But just to see him, a quality person, continue to excel and get to the big leagues, and hopefully it's going to be a start of something great from a career standpoint. I mean, you know, he led the team in so many different ways last year, and while he wasn't on the championship team at the bitter end, he was in Charlotte. You know, he was a huge part of that team and us, you know, clinching a ring last year. So just really glad to see him and so many others like the Brooks Ballins of the world and so many Jonathan Cannons and all that, you know, sort of excel. And the guys who we have on this year's team right now are going to be in the same position either later this season, if not next season, excelling at the big league level on the south side of Chicago.
Jonathan Nelson, general manager of the Birmingham Barons, joining us here on Three Man Front, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Barons opening up the 6-game homestand as they host the Chattanooga Lookouts coming up tonight. And I know that now that school is winding down, you guys have some really exciting events playing there at Regions.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's hard to believe. I mean, this is, I guess our 4th homestand of the year and the final homestand before our Rickwood, you know, game that's going to be in early June. So it's hard to believe we'll be on the road for 2 weeks after this, so people have an opportunity to see the Barons over the next 6 days, beginning tonight, you know, a unique game time at 6 o'clock because we have a school day tomorrow at 11 a.m. game tomorrow, which are always fun. And then, of course, roll into Thursday and a mustache night this Thursday night, which is a unique promotion unto itself. And then, of course, fireworks this Friday night and a golf cap giveaway. We're certainly aligning ourselves with the Regions tradition this week and having a fun golf promotion where we have a golf simulator and giving away rounds of golf this Saturday night as well. And then we cap it off this Sunday with a game out here, which is going to be another great day in partnering with Red Mountain Theater. So.
You had me at mustache night. What is
yeah,
this?
He's very intrigued by the mustache night.
I'm just going to gloss over that.
I had to do a little bit of, questions about it myself. We're going to do a variety of promotions, in-game fun contests when it comes to folks who are sporting their best mustaches out here at Regents Field. So no better way than to do it on a Thursday night when things get a little bit, edgy here and there. But it'll be a lot of fun.
Man, mustache night. So even if those that may not can grow the mustache, they would still be given kudos by the attempt, right?
Absolutely. And, we actually accept fake ones too. So we're good to go. I mean, we're an open opportunity here.
Okay. All right.
I would go with like the Wyatt Earp type mustache.
I would go the Raleigh Fingers
That'd be
mustache.
Good. Yep.
Raleigh Fingers, yeah, dialing it back to a Birmingham A, no doubt. The handlebar mustache, he's sported and still sports to this day. He was here at the end of last season, and he still brings it on strong.
Something tells me we'll see a good bit of the Grant Nelson mustaches out there.
We'd welcome Grant to come over here too. I mean, yeah, he sported it on the last few years, so yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe. Just 3 weeks from tomorrow is our Rick Wood game.
Well, that's a great segue because that was what I was going to bring up. Wednesday, June the 4th, the Rick Wood game. And it's always a memorable time when the Barons are able to take the field at Rick Wood like they did last year against the Montgomery Biscuits. And this will be no different this year. It should be a lot of fun.
It will be a lot of fun. It's a lot of work going into it. This is the first time, last year was a major league sort of operated game for us, even though we played Montgomery on that Tuesday. This is the first time that we're going to host our home game at Rick Wood since 2019. So it's been a heavier lift than usual, but at the same time, it's a labor of love. I mean, to be able to turn back the clock, celebrate a different era, and obviously this year we're going to do it once again with the Negro Leagues and honoring the legendary what they provided not only to America but to the game of baseball, but to be able to connect so many different generations of baseball fans, of Barons fans, and to celebrate America's pastime at America's oldest ballpark in the most natural way, a day game without all the bells and whistles of maybe sound effects and modern music and all those type of things. So hopefully it'll be a special day. Hopefully much better weather than today. But regardless, it's always fun to go out there, and I know that our staff's done an incredible job, buttoning up all the different details and making sure that it's going to be a very special day here in the Magic City as we celebrate the Negro Leagues.
Nelly, when's the last time you grew a mustache?
I've never grown bona fide a mustache. My son has a mustache right now. I've had a beard or two, but never dipped my toe in the water of a mustache. I don't think I'm going to at this point.
I think he could pull it off, though.
The type of hard-hitting questions you get on three-man front, you don't get this anywhere. Like, you do these TV interviews all the time, these stand-ups. You don't get this type of hard-hitting journalism like you do on three-man front.
No, we come prepared.
That is preparation, and certainly a unique question like that I've never had to answer before, but gladly with you guys.
Well, we appreciate that. It should be a great week of promotions and great games. Let's get this weather out of the way so it will be nice and sunny and beautiful baseball weather for the rest of the week. That's Barons.com for the latest information on the Birmingham Barons' latest homestand. Nelly, always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us.
Appreciate it, guys. Talk to y'all later.
Thank you. That's Jonathan Nelson, general manager of the Birmingham Barons. And don't forget, each and every homestand, whether it's Bark in the Park, $3 wine. Thursdays is Thirsty Thursday. That is a staple that so many people take advantage of. That's $2.50 beer and seltzers. Fridays, Fireworks Friday. Come to the game, stay for the great fireworks show. Saturdays, Magic City Saturday. Join us every Saturday at the Barons for an exciting theme night. As we talked about, this Saturday night is golf night. Then on Sunday, it's Sunday Fun Day. This week, it's Frozen Day. That's right, on Sunday. So
does that mean frozen treats, or does that mean come dressed as Elsa?
I think it's probably Elsa.
Nah.
Just spitballing. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't have my costume anymore.
You got rid of it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You do it on Halloween.
I thought you wore that for like the thing in Homewood that you get on a bike and ride around. What's that one called?
There's a lot of those.
You have a lot of those?
You talking about the Witches Ride?
Yeah.
No.
I thought you wore that for Witches Ride.
I'm not a
Warlocks Ride. Did you do the Warlocks?
That's new, yeah.
Is it? Can we do that?
If we'd have benefited charity, I think we could absolutely do a Warlocks Ride.
Okay. Kind of compete with the witches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Let's do the same path, but let's start at the other end, and then that way
really confuse everybody.
Well, we're
maybe I can get Officer Walt to to like escort you.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That would be good.
Warlock's ride. It's kind of tough to say.
Is it?
Yeah.
Kind of a mouthful?
Is there something else we could use for warlock? Warlock.
Wizard?
Wizard, yeah.
See, then you're going to offend all the wizards out there by calling them warlocks.
Back to the drawing.
Kind of massage that.
Yeah.
Kind of work on it.
Yep.
Nick,
what about a mustache ride?
I guess, sure. Nick Kelly's going to join us momentarily from AL.com. He'll join us here on set, live.
Yes.
From Social Taco. So much to get into with him, including he was in the courtroom all last week for the murder trial in Tuscaloosa. We will talk to him about that, what is possibly next for Darius Miles, as we have yet to see the court establish a date for his trial. We'll talk to him about that. Also some news coming out of Tuscaloosa. It's being reported by Ryan Fowler down in Tuscaloosa that Ty Simpson has been invited to the Peyton Manning, the Manning Passing Academy.
Keller. Hey, Keller. Texting into the show. He needs to know more about the progression of ceremonies at Barron's Mustache Night. Is there a prize? I've got my pocket comb ready.
All right.
Keller's got a great mustache.
We will talk some Alabama football, basketball, all things Bama with Nick Kelly from AL.com. He'll join us here live in person. That's next on Three Man Front. Welcome back. It is hour number 3 as we get ready to kick off the second half of the show here at Social Taco. Nick Kelly will join us momentarily from AL.com, covers the Alabama Crimson Tide. We'll talk to him about a myriad of subjects. I want to remind everybody about Courtesy GMC and Trustful. The very best in inventory and service is found right off of I-459 exit 32 at Courtesy GMC and Trustful. Over 9 acres of inventory for you to choose from. Courtesy is there to help you discover the perfect fit for your next vehicle, whether it's advanced safety features or cutting-edge technology. Courtesy and their friendly sales staff is ready to guide you towards an ideal choice, and I'm talking about a Yukon XL. How about an Acadia, AT4, a Terrain, trucks like the light-duty Sierra or the mid-size Canyon truck. And their pre-owned inventory is the deepest you're going to find anywhere. And I'm talking about the fantastic team that you're going to run into. You're not going to find a better group of people than Josh Gargis, Drew Lally. How about Richard Gullidge, the new vehicle manager, Robert Doremus, the pre-owned manager, Larry Forte back in service. You got Brian Sivley at the body shop. If you have a fender bender, he can take care of you. Tommy Rowan, who's the internet director. I'm telling you, these people, get to know them because they're great people and they're going to help you save big time on a brand new GMC. Go by and see them. Exit 32 off of I-459 in Trustful. That's Courtesy GMC. Joining us here on site is our good friend Nick Kelly from AL.com. Nick, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for dodging the raindrops and joining us here at Social Taco as the waiter, Landrum Roberts, just hooked you up with a nice cold water.
What service? Do I have to tip him or how does this work?
No, do not tip him because he won't go away.
Good. I didn't want to encourage anything, so I figured I'd not do that unless it was customary.
It's like a cat, like you give milk a stray cat, and it just hangs around. You give Landrum a tip, he'll be there all day.
25%, Nick.
25%?
25%.
In this economy?
Yeah. Have you not seen? Inflation came in lower than expected for the third straight month.
Oh, man, well, I might have to leave if 25% is
I got big
tip,
things planned for your visit.
Oh, boy.
It'll be worth the 25%.
All right, so I've got to ask you, before we start talking about football, I want to talk about a serious subject that you covered last week in Tuscaloosa. And it happened, the verdict came down late Friday. And you were just telling me off the air that you were a little bit surprised that it came back so quickly. But for those that may not have followed it or maybe even saw or heard what took place at Tuscaloosa, kind of give us the synopsis of what took place last week.
Yeah, I covered the Michael Davis capital murder trial, and if that name sounds familiar, it's because he's a close friend of Darius Miles, the former Alabama basketball player. Both of them were arrested on capital murder charges back in January of 2023 for the shooting death of Jamia Harris, and Michael Davis had his trial. He was the one who had been accused of shooting into the Jeep, and that's why it was capital murder as opposed to murder, because there's a special circumstance. And he went on trial last week, and it started Monday, and it wrapped up late Friday night. And Darius does not have a trial date set yet, and I think a lot of it was to go through that part first, because if Michael Davis had not been found guilty of capital murder, then it kind of wraps up the whole case, because if he was not found guilty, then Darius being the one who is accused of supplying the gun, allegedly, and his attorney, Mary Turner, said that he used that gun or he provided the gun for Davis's protection, and it was a case of, so if he's not found guilty, then Darius would basically not be able to found guilty as well.
Right.
But he was found guilty late Friday night and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And that's the only possible sentence once they took the death penalty off the table that you can get for capital murder. So yeah, a real just serious, heavy outcome. But I think at the same time, I think there was relief for Jamia Harris's family. They were there as well, and obviously still doesn't bring her back. But I think a case of, for them, you could just sense the emotion relief that they experienced.
How much, Nick, were you able to visibly witness as far as Davis seeming remorseful for what had happened there? I know we can't judge someone's heart, but was it demonstrative or anything that he said or any of the things that you witnessed?
Yeah, so he testified Friday, which to me seemed like a Hail Mary type deal, because a lot of times you don't want to put the defendant on the stand. But he testified Friday, and I think it was because of how, frankly, bad the evidence looked for him. And it was a case of where he almost had to go on trial or he had to go on the stand for them to have a shot. And Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you can tell from that, but I will say what I observed once the verdict was read, I couldn't notice any audible or visible reaction from him, but because the sentencing happened right away, normally it happens, I believe, a few weeks after, when there are options for the judge to pick from, essentially, but there weren't in this case, so sentencing was immediate. So when that happened, he was sentenced. They immediately took his sport coat off, put handcuffs around him, and that's when he started to cry. And right as he was being hauled out of the courtroom, he turned to his family who was sitting right there and said, "I love you." And all of them, who had been pretty quiet until that point, broke out into tears. They said, "I love you back." And it was terribly emotional because there is just no winner in any of it. I mean, yes, there's some justice for Jamea Harris.
A lot of lives destroyed.
Right, but she's gone. Right. And so that can't change that fact. And so it really just, again, was heavy and just unforgettable, and not for good reasons.
All right, so wrapping up in regards to what you covered last week, Brandon Miller, Bradley showed up, a former Alabama player. All these guys were on the stand. I know some folks on social media really took Brandon Miller to task in regards to him being in Tuscaloosa. Do you anticipate that once Darius Miles finally gets a court date and he goes in front of the judge and a jury, that you will see those same Alabama guys making their way through the courtroom once again to testify?
Possibly, but I will say, and this isn't informed, but just pure speculation, I wouldn't rule out the possibility of a plea deal of some kind if the state were to offer that for Darius. I'm not saying they have or they will. Again, this is just complete speculation.
Sure.
But there is a possibility that, say, they offer a plea deal to Darius, that it does not go to trial, and say that he were to accept that. So it's not guaranteed he goes to trial. There is no date officially set. But, yes, if he goes to trial, there's a good chance we see several of the same people we just did this past week.
Would it be potentially on the table accomplice to murder? Would it be potentially manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter? I don't know. What's on the table for him?
Well, the judge would decide that. So there's no automatic, this is what's on the table as other options. But basically, manslaughter could be, and there are different levels of manslaughter, too. There's reckless manslaughter. There's provocated manslaughter, without getting into law school stuff here. There are different levels. So there is a potential of something where, say there's a plea deal of, hey, you plead to this level of manslaughter and plead guilt, and then you get off on 5 years or 3 years or whatever it might be. So that's a possibility. But even still, the judge, say they do go to trial, they could list these options as for, and Davis had this too, where if the jury had found him not guilty of capital murder, then it would go, okay, but is he guilty of manslaughter? And then if he wasn't guilty of that, then they could look at self-defense. So basically, there are options, and hopefully I didn't lose you guys as I talked through the legal process.
No, not at all.
No, I was curious. Was there any details, and I know that you had to absorb a lot in last week in Tuscaloosa in that courtroom, but anything that you learned about the events of that night, at least from the Davis side of things, or maybe his attorneys, that you did not know?
Good question. I mean, there's a lot. I actually filled up multiple notebooks worth of, because we can only take handwritten notes. So it's a case of we're writing feverishly kind of thing. And so I'm trying to think back. I mean, maybe the most just revealing thing was, and I don't even say revealing, but I think the thing that was of most interest to the casual fan or observer or just person interested in this case was when Brandon Miller took the stand, they went over the text messages he had with Darius Miles. And because that's been a big subject of consternation of how much did Brandon know. And basically it was a case of the one text had Brandon was texted he was on his way before Darius 9 seconds later said something that meant to the effect of, I need my gun, someone's threatening me. That's not what it said explicitly, but that is what through court they explained it to mean. And Brandon saw that text because he replied in other messages, but he was on the way already. So without getting into the weeds of the discussion or the morals or what have you there, I don't think we knew the exact timestamp as to when those were sent and just that whole exchange. So we got to see that whole exchange because they showed the text messages on the screen and Brandon read them too. So that part was, I don't know, wholly revealing to the outcome of the case, but I think for people interested in Brandon Miller, interested in Alabama basketball, I think that part was something that I saw a lot of people talking about.
Very much so. Any scuttlebutt in regards to when Darius Miles may see the courtroom for his trial?
Well, the wheels of justice turn slowly, so I wouldn't say it's going to be immediate. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe not till the fall. And for me, I'm hoping it's not in the fall because, as you guys well know, it's a busy time of year in our line of work. But I think it's a possibility we might have to wait until then for something like that, or even next year. I mean, it seems slow, but a lot of times things are not tried for 3, even sometimes 4 years after the incident.
Nick, tough transition here. Do want to go college basketball. Nate Oates, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Everybody's got their way too early top 25 of the college basketball season coming out. LeBaron Filine, that's still kind of up in the air. Tell us what you know about that. And do you think that maybe Nate Oates is continuing to search to try to add to that roster?
Yeah, I think as far as LeBaron goes, it's been tough to read, and it feels like it's changed every so often. But I would say that it's not impossible he comes back. But if you had to ask me point blank right now, if I think he comes back, I would guess no. I think a few people put it as maybe a coin flip at one point, but maybe, I mean, there's some mock drafts today that had him
28.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
like he's in that range of being a first-round pick, and that's what I've heard behind the scenes too, that's very possible. You can't always go off of mock drafts type of deal, but I do think him being a first-round pick is possible. If he gets that feedback, I mean, the draft combine is this week, like if he gets that feedback or even a guarantee, then yeah, he's gone. So again, not impossible he comes back, but I don't get the vibe that it's necessarily this is happening. It's an expectation. He's just going through this for the fun of it.
I know we asked you this a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to see if it's been amended, but of all the guys from the basketball team that ended up leaving the program, which one surprised you the most?
I would say Mo Diabate. I can't remember if that's what I said a few weeks ago or not, but I think to me, he just was blue-collar through and through. Now, I say it's surprising, but I think that Kentucky made it worth his while to leave. So at the same time, it's not surprising. I think in some ways it made sense. I'm not confident enough to share a number. I just have heard that I think he was well compensated to make that move. And obviously Kentucky has been one of the biggest spenders and attractors of talent in this portal cycle. So I think it made sense that, yeah, you didn't want to pay maybe silly money to keep him Mo Diabate, but I think it was, I mean, in terms of him just fitting blue collar, it is kind of disappointing to see him leave.
Nick Kelly covers the Alabama Crimson Tide, joining us live from Social Taco here in the Terrace, and we appreciate you being here. College football season, we got a lot going on. We got SEC meetings coming up, a lot of discussion. Is it going to be a 9-game conference schedule? Is it going to be 8? Do we have play-in games? Is there any potential scenario that's ideal for Nick Kelly?
Just wake me up when it's decided. That's the ideal scenario, because I've been in Destin the last few years, and it's been the question every year. And then it's, okay, Alabama's leaning this way, they're leaning that way. And so, yeah, just let me know when it's decided. I don't care. I mean, I like more good games, so don't mishear me. Like, I would vote for 9, but I know there's a lot more at play than just, hey, let's have good football games.
One thing's for sure, and we asked our listeners today on the our Twitter poll question of the day, how many football conference games should the SEC play? And right now it's overwhelming. 71.4% says 9, where I think they're like you. They want better games, and they know more conference games, this being the kind of conference that we have in the SEC, they would love to have that and more of that. So then the question is, ESPN is willing to pay an additional $3 to $5 million. That would be the breakdown per team per year in regards to what the contract would look like if you were to add that extra game. So then the question now is, Nick, to you personally speaking, from a college football playoff perspective, if you're an SEC head coach, if you don't get it expanded till you get those 4 automatic qualifiers, does it benefit the SEC to move from 8 to 9?
Easy answer, no. I mean, keep it at 8, because if you're going to get penalized for playing more good games, more good teams, why would you do it? Which is why I think the CFP needs to expand that. Because if you don't, why would you play tougher teams other than just for the fun of it? Because, A, you want to get into the playoff for the sake of keeping jobs, keeping fans engaged. But, B, there's money involved in making the CFP. And so maybe you get more money for the regular season to have that 9th game, but there's some big money involved if you make the playoff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if they're not going to expand it, then, yeah, no, keep it at 8.
That is Nick Kelly from AL.com. He will join us a few more minutes here live on set at Social Taco as we're talking now college football. So much to get more into with Nick Kelly in regards to this Alabama football team, what to expect in year 2 of Kalen DeBoer. We're live at Social Taco. You can come by and see us. The Taco Terrace. I see Kip Kiefer. He has just walked in. The legend. How about that? Legend from the Feinbaum Show. He has just made his appearance here at Social Taco. So come on by and see us. We'll be here until 2 o'clock.
When I walked into Social Taco this morning as we were setting up for the show, I had in my 18 South koozie one of those great products from Mystic Beverage. Tell you about it all the time. The sparkling water that's infused with various cannabinoids. I always go with the Lift, and it's got the green coffee bean extract that is so good. It's gonna keep you up. You're not gonna crawl out of your skin. It's not gonna make you feel queasy. It's safe to use at work, around your family. It's not gonna give you that kind of vibe. It's just gonna keep you on point. Not only that, but they do have the High Hills Delta 9. They have the Nirvana, the Broadway Spectrum, all of that. Great alternative to alcohol. You can try it. It's mysticbeverage.com. It is made in Blount County, Alabama. You can find it at your local Piggly Wiggly, mysticbeverage.com. We continue live with Nick Kelly, Landrum Roberts, Pat Smith, live from Social Taco here in Homewood on it's now raining. Rainy Tuesday. Jocks 94.5. Welcome back. It is three-man front here on a Tuesday. Having a conversation with Legend, who has made himself up available.
It's great to see Legend. Known Legend a very long time. Legend and I used to go on the old tour, the Feinbaum football tour. We would travel around the state of Alabama and give some stump speeches talking about the upcoming college football season. So, man, Legend is indeed a legend.
He is with Don Don.
Yeah, he's Don Don's kind of drafting partner, trying to.
It's interesting, the big Auburn fan next to the big Alabama fan,
and Nick Kelly's right in the middle of it.
And Nick Kelly, yeah,
Nick,
write a column.
Thank you, Legend.
Just on that right there.
Could you do it? That was a lot. That was something. I don't know the Iron Bowl of what, but
that is
Iron Bowl of tacos.
That is radio royalty right there, my friend.
We call it iBot.
I literally just texted. Work on that one.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I just texted someone. I had just met Legend, so I know that's a big deal.
All right, so let's talk about Alabama football. I wanted to ask you about the situation with the NIL. I saw an article in the Houston Chronicle, and it had all these figures. No one knows for sure how much money these programs are really spending. The big story was, all right, Texas is going to spend between $35 and $40 million in this upcoming cycle for their roster. Now, they're including the $20.5 million that perhaps is going to be allocated once the House settlement is over with. Have you ever heard a number what Alabama spent last year? The Houston Chronicle reported that last year's roster was $15.9 million. Does that seem in the ballpark? Does that seem too low, too high in regards to what you heard last year from this Alabama roster?
Yeah, that seems maybe a little high, but I think Alabama's in the teens most likely. Otherwise, if you weren't in the teens, because what was Ohio State's supposed national championship roster?
$20.2 million.
20.2.
Right. So if you're not in the teens, you're kind of in a tough spot. So I don't know the exact number, but I don't know if it would be 15, but last year I think it would have been somewhere in the teens. Although, did you see supposedly Ryan Williams rejected a historic $205 million offer from Texas?
No.
How much?
Wait,
sorry.
Facebook.
Sorry, you said 205?
Wait.
$205 million offer.
Not 2.05.
No, for the record, this is not true. But there's a Facebook post going around.
I was about to say, is Nick about to break something here on the
if he
program?
turned down $205 million, I would go to Tuscaloosa and shake him.
Yeah. I'd go work for him, at that point. But no, it's not real. But it's one of those Facebook posts making the rounds, including the ones about different people, having children, just one of those random posts.
I was just going to follow up.
No, go ahead.
You don't have to name the sport. Don't name the player. What's the highest that you have heard that an individual athlete has garnered at Alabama?
Are you talking in true NIL? Are you talking involving deals? What?
Just money. However they got it.
Just want to talk money?
Yeah, however you want to frame it.
Gross.
Yeah, I want to say I haven't thought of this. Probably in the 2-3-ish range, maybe.
Okay.
Will that be a football or basketball player?
Football. I don't know who.
No, we're not asking.
I don't know who. I don't even know necessarily who it is, but I would be surprised if anyone's over that. Is I guess the way I would put it. To me, at least.
It's a lot of times it's better for me not to know who it is because then I get really critical in watching them play. That wasn't worth. That wasn't worth. You see what I'm saying? But I'm just curious because now we're seeing it really start to escalate into talking to other coaches other than football coaches across the board. It's hitting everywhere.
So the reason I bring all that up is because whether this story was correct or not from the Houston Chronicle, but when you detail that Texas is going to spend what they're going to spend this year, LSU spent $20 million last year. Okay, they fell flat on their face. Now they have upped their ante this year in the transfer portal in regards to who they got. Georgia spent 18.3. The Aggies spent 17.2. Then Bama comes in at 15.9. Do you anticipate that number will go up from an Alabama perspective for paying for the roster and retaining and going and getting, or do you think it's going to be around the same ballpark?
Yeah, I think it'll go up. And I think I misunderstood you before. I was thinking you were saying Texas at 15.9. I could believe Alabama was at that number potentially.
Okay.
But I think it'll go up with rev share and what you can do in NIL and stuff, because what it's going to come down to is, okay, you got the cap for what you can essentially do that's pay for play, right? I mean,
and that's for the whole and that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand. That's for the entire athletic department. Now, the majority of the athletic departments, especially in the Southeastern Conference, they're going to allocate the largest percentage of that $20.5 million to their football program.
Right.
So a lot of people get that confused. They think it's $20.5 million just for football. No, that's $20.5 for across the board.
Correct. And so that number is what essentially people don't have to do anything for. I mean, outside of play their sport.
Right.
But then there's the add-on of, okay, if you do these fundraisers or you do these events for us, you do this action, whatever it might be, that's the true NIL. So when you hear a number for, that's part of why I asked you, Landrum, about what number you're asking about, because when you combine the two, maybe you get, say, $5 million for a player. Well, 4 of that could be from rev share, so that's like his salary, so to speak, and 1 of that could be his NIL deals. And so that's where it's tricky.
Which would not go against the $20.5 million number.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
So I think that's where it's tricky, because these numbers get thrown around, and it's just kind of hard to decipher how much of that is, okay, we're lining up deals for you that's going to earn you $2 million. But that's not your school paying that money necessarily. So that's why it's just hard to decipher. Not that I'm discounting what was in the Houston Chronicle, not that I'm discounting any number that's out there, because there's truth in a lot of it. But some of it gets exaggerated, and without knowing how to break it down, that's why even when you ask me how much is the highest Alabama player getting paid, it's so tricky because I don't know. I mean, obviously, Ryan Williams is being well compensated. I don't know his number.
Yeah.
But, again, how much of that is here's what he's getting from rev share, and how much is he getting from deals because he's a huge celebrity in Alabama? So it's just so hard to know of, like, okay, who's getting the most, because who's giving it is essentially the question that I would have.
Without you seeing the balance sheet, the spreadsheet that Greg Byrne probably has on the computer and maybe has actual paper that he's looking at, the bottom line, when all this is said and done, and this is really tough for you to predict, but could you foresee Alabama, potentially Auburn, some other SEC schools cutting sports?
I could foresee it. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I think you have to consider it, or you have to think about it, because unfortunately, in a lot of ways, college sports are moving to this model of I mean, aren't there some athletic departments that are becoming like LLCs or separating from?
Kentucky has named basically most of its athletic department, and that's going to be behind a paywall, so to speak, because you're not going to get access. You being a journalist, the Freedom of Information Act, that ain't going to work anymore, because with them being a separate LLC, they're not going to be a state-run institution that you can get your hands on their data.
To Pat's point, though, how much of that, and I know you talking to people, but that stuff is basically non-transparent right now for the most part, right?
No, it's hard to get a grasp on, and some of that's intentional, some of it's not, just because you have different pockets they're pulling from. But and that's where I even hesitate. I'm not trying to sidestep questions. It's just I don't feel confident enough because you hear enough things of what these numbers are or what it looks like, and it changes. It changes all the time. And so to answer your question, though, about potentially cutting sports, I mean, this movement to LLCs, like, that's a business, right? Like, that is a business designation. And so what makes you money? Football, men's basketball, some places baseball might a little bit.
Right.
So that you're going to follow what's making money, because these athletic directors, as much as it's hard to make that decision, and as much as they might believe in amateurism and the good part of having these Olympic sports, I think Greg Byrne does. He does believe in that, but they're in a tough spot because they got to generate money.
And there is a belief among coaches, and I think it would blow people away and really dishearten them, maybe even more so now, Nick, of just knowing what's going on. But I think there's a lot of people that think, the Power 4 schools are going to be okay. It's the other guys that, no, that's actually not the case. And there's a belief that these values, these numbers that these athletes are going to be getting paid, the market is going to continue to escalate. Finally, it will crap out, and we will have a put up or shut up. Somebody, maybe it's legislatively at the federal government level, but that it's going to continue. Where is that money going to continue to come from? Because I think there's already donor fatigue from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, there's donor fatigue. I mean, it is tricky because the average person who, say, the collective's trying to get you to be a member and to donate, to subscribe or whatever. I've heard a lot of kind of I don't know if the right term, but just the average fan, so to speak, that's not a deep pocket donor. It's kind of like, we're already paying X amount for tickets, we're already paying X amount for this and that. Like, we're just average working class people, so to speak. Like, why is this being put on our back? And so I think there's some frustration at that level too. So, of course, in my head, when you ask that question, Landrum, it's, okay, how does private equity become part of this? I don't think that's a good solution. I don't think that is the solution, but that's a solution that some places are considering, some people are thinking about. I'm not quite – I got a business minor, but I just remember I took those classes. I don't even remember half of what I learned from those classes. So I don't know how much I can give the solution, but I think they're looking at them.
Who is the first athlete who has savvy enough representation, and maybe it's going on, we just haven't seen it, but that takes stock options?
I don't know. I mean, it's something to consider, but I don't know that that's the direct compensation they want unless they're thinking long-term enough. Right, they want it now. And the other thing is, part of why I do think it's important that these schools help out in some ways to educate. I mean, these are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old guys. I mean, I'm 27, and I'm still learning half the stuff about finance and taxes and all these things that you have to make sure to do. And so
that's the stories that I'm waiting to read about, is how the young athlete was absolutely dumbfounded when they came in and
that'll
told
be a 30 for 30
how much that he had to pay in taxes.
Right.
He was
100%.
absolutely blown away. Nick Kelly, a few more minutes with us here live at Social Taco from AL.com. This is Jocks 94.5. few more minutes with Nick Kelly from AL.com. Appreciate Nick coming out and joining us here at Social Taco. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. All right, so there's a lot on the table. You mentioned Destin, SEC spring meetings coming up. The number one topic is going to be 8 conference games, 9 conference games. That will be debated. But also I want to get your feeling on the other people around college football that you talk with about the SEC and this automatic qualifying, okay? I'm going to play you a clip now. Actually, Conrad is. This was from the Kings of the North podcast. Are you familiar with these guys? Douglas Murray, who used to cover the Ohio State Buckeyes for the Columbus Dispatch and Cleveland.com. He does a podcast called Kings of the North. It's about the Big Ten Conference being the greatest thing since sliced bread, okay?
Nope, I'm out.
So this conversation that they had, Nick, is dealing with why should the SEC get 4 automatic qualifiers? Take a listen to what they had to say.
I want to know how many times out of 11 years they did not hit the threshold of at least 4 teams in the top 16. Again, this is counting Texas and Oklahoma as part of the SEC the whole time.
0.
3. Suck it.
What?
Cram that. How's your cram hole? God, that cram was so good. Sword time. Get this out. 3 times. What do we think this sport is? We think this is dominated by the SEC. The current Big Ten is constituted, has earned this right every single year. 3 out of 11, the SEC was short. It's so top-heavy. This is so good for everybody. The Big Ten really, we underestimate, I think, especially when you add Washington and Oregon. And when we think about what, at their best, Wisconsin and Michigan State and Iowa and teams like that have been and can be, we underestimate, we don't understand the depth in the top middle of the Big Ten, and we overestimate that in the SEC, a conference that was propped up by the greatest coach of all time.
Your thoughts on that? 3 out of 11 years, according to this podcast, the SEC would not have qualified based on the college football playoff rankings for automatic teams making the CFP.
A lot to unpack there. I'll say that. I mean, you almost can't compare, though, across eras because we're in a different era now. I mean, NIL was not a thing then. I'm not saying that's a reason for the SEC to get more qualifiers.
I also remember the SEC winning a lot of national championships in that 11-year span. I know the Big Ten can crow because they won the last 2, but come on now. I mean, outside of Ohio State during that 11-year run, what other team in the Big Ten was worth a darn?
I mean, I can't think of someone.
Nobody.
I mean, to your point, Pat, I do think that the whole middle comparison, I don't buy the idea that, okay, this is what Michigan State can be. This is what Wisconsin can be. And this is coming from a guy who grew up in Minnesota. So, I'm from Big Ten country. Yeah, they can be good, and they've got passionate fan bases. But I still would think the SEC's got higher potential among that kind of group of middle teams. Now, you're also talking to a guy who went to Missouri who's kind of, whose school's in that pack. So, to me, I still think you give the SEC those 4 automatic qualifiers. I'm not saying that because I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, 10 minutes away from the SEC headquarters. You don't want to play the SEC. I mean, if you're asking someone, who would you rather play? More often than not, I'd rather, I think, face a middle-of-the-pack Big Ten team than I would a middle-of-the-pack SEC team.
Whether the Kings of the North want to admit it or not in that podcast, at the end of the day, everyone ceded power to the Big Ten and the SEC. They signed it over. The keys to the candy store have been handed to Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey. So
Correct.
Whether anybody else wants to prop up whatever number they want to come up with, because without the SEC, the Big Ten would not have a drafting partner. And you would not be able to get the change done because Greg Sankey is more powerful than Tony Petitti.
And the Big Ten got the benefit of the doubt, and I can make the argument that top to bottom, the SEC, the grind, as Kirby Smart liked to call it, was tougher. How many times did we look at the Big Ten West and go, well, I guess we'll see Wisconsin again because look who they play, and everybody else is hammered dog poo.
Yeah.
The Big Ten West was awful. I mean, again.
But they also get the benefit of the doubt from the media and people like Kings of the North that want to automatically just assume that a 9-0 at the time Iowa is worthy of being in a conversation of being a top 10 football team when they've played absolutely no one.
I'll never buy the argument that just because you haven't lost a game doesn't mean that you are better than a team that has. Like, again, you have to look at the quality of wins.
Indiana was a fun story last year, but we saw how that ended.
It was great. Like, I mean, I'm not against teams in the Big Ten doing well at all. It's just a case of if there was an SEC team that hadn't played anyone that was, I mean, I guess it wouldn't happen because you played SEC teams, but let's just say someone had just an absolute easy path. They barely played the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Texases, and they went undefeated. Well, I would feel the same way, to be honest with you.
Well, here's the thing, and this is my problem, and I said it numerous times on this show. The problem I had with the College Football Playoff Committee is because they told us, Nick, when you and I were on that conference call, and they were telling us that it was going to be about transparency. There was no transparency. When we asked about, okay, how are you going to come up with the data points for the strength of schedule? Oh, well, we have outsourced that. We have hired a company out of Florida. I think it was Sports Source Analytics or whatever it was. They're going to give us 21 data points, but we can't share that information with you. But you just told us that it was going to be an open process. And so we had no idea how the strength of schedule was going to be determined. And so when we got into these debates about Indiana or SMU, we were missing that one denominator that could help us figure out what the heck they were thinking. I also think that the committee is guilty, not only this last year, but in years past. If it's a big story, it's a good story for college football, whether it's Cincinnati, whether it's SMU this last year. Those people are human. And because they're human, they're going to give those guys a benefit of the doubt because they would like to see somebody different than another SEC team rolling in there to the college football playoff. Am I crazy to think that, or you guys agree with that?
I think it's human nature, right? I mean, to be honest, yeah, I mean, I know I cover Alabama, but it is cool to see different teams in the playoff. Do I think it's right? I don't know. Unless, I mean, again, we're kind of broad brushing here.
Right.
But, yeah, I do think that it would be hard not to put something fresh or something new in. But at the same time, if they really were objective and looked at, okay, who are the most deserving teams? And I say this again, I cover Alabama, and I don't know that Alabama deserved to be in the playoff this year. Probably over SMU, but I don't know that Alabama was that good of a team necessarily. But I don't necessarily think that SMU's, and I'm having to go back to remember what their schedules looked like, but Alabama has some good wins, and they had some of the best wins for a while. Even for a while when Georgia's number one, they were the only team to have beaten Georgia. So I still think quality of wins is the most important statistic because, and even more so when we get into the era of, okay, you're going to have more 9-3 teams because there's more parity. The talent's more spread out, so you're going to have some losses. So to me, you look at the quality of the wins because that's what they are capable of doing, not what they maybe had go wrong on a bad day.
That is Nick Kelly from AL.com. We'll do one more segment with Nick before the top of the hour. This is Jocks 94.5. We are live at Social Taco. Oh, it's been a great hour here with Nick Kelly, AL.com.
Nick, you comfortable still? Anybody made you uncomfortable?
Not yet, but I guess we got a few more minutes.
Are you going
right?
to eat something?
I offer every time.
Every time.
Every time.
You know, in some countries.
One of these times.
It's very disrespectful.
What about this country?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
We understand. It's really good food, though.
Oh, no, I've been here. I love just I guess, would you call it a family of Soho Standard, Soho Taco?
Yes,
like,
yeah. It's a family.
Oh, I love every time my wife and I come to Homewood and visit these spots and like the brunch over at Soho Standard, right?
Yeah.
And I mean that because unlimited tapas kind of thing.
Yeah, listen,
I sound like I'm reading some promotional thing.
No, he's not. If you're watching on YouTube, he's
we could arrange where we have the Nick Kelly table.
How about that?
I'm in. We
can hook you up there.
Legendary head coaches in the state have had their own booth table at certain establishments.
Unfortunately, that's not quite my title, but
legendary.
Neither legendary or head coach, not my title. But
I think you're selling yourself short.
We'll work on it.
All right, so we actually had a couple of calls a few weeks ago, and they were saying if Kalen DeBoer, if he goes 9-4 again, he's gone. Alabama will fire him, and I always hit the pause button. I remind everybody that there's a buyout of about, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, I think it's in the neighborhood currently of about $60 million. I'm sure that would go down a little bit after another season's under his belt, but they've got at least a couple more years, right, to try to get this thing ironed out and heading in the direction that they expect it to head in?
Yeah, to your point, I think both Kalen DeBoer and Alabama need this to work out because – for better or for worse, they're kind of in bed together, so to speak, of success. Where if Alabama wins, that's great for Kalen, and if Kalen wins, that's great for Alabama. And to the point of, you can't really fire him after a bad year. And I don't know that Greg Byrne will be that reactionary anyway. I think you got to give a coach 3 years overall. But no, that buyout is prohibitive in this era where they're trying to find any way to save money possible so that they can fund rev share, so they are able to fund that full $20.5 million, which will only grow each year from here on out, assuming the House settlement gets approved.
Right.
I didn't want to interrupt, but it will be interesting future contracts for some of these coaches, how much they change moving forward. Do we see more of performance-based, incentivized contracts, a lot like we get sometimes in the NFL, where you're asked to perform, and then some of that buyout money, I've got to think that a lot of those high numbers probably start going away as well.
Maybe so. I think people got conditioned to we'll buy out whoever, whatever. Hey, this guy's got a massive buyout, Jimbo Fisher. We'll pay it kind of deal.
Yeah.
I don't think schools are going to be able to pay it if these buyout numbers continue to be what they are. So basically you need to make sure you hire well, because if you don't, you're going to kind of be stuck with them for maybe a little bit longer than you would have otherwise. I mean, look at Billy Napier in Florida, where I think in maybe a previous decade, even 5 years ago, he might not still be at Florida now. But because of, you kind of have to almost wait things out a little bit longer and maybe give a little bit more of a leash than before, because it's just too expensive to buy some of these coaches out when you need every penny you can get, frankly.
All right, so we're in Atlanta coming up towards the end of the summer. We all vote, and I always ask our media brethren this question because I like to get the pulse of what you're kind of thinking as we head into the summer. Where do you think Alabama will be when it's all said and done when people vote? Last year, they were predicted third in the SEC, did not make it to Atlanta. Where do you anticipate the media will vote Alabama in year 2 under Kalen DeBoer?
3. I say 3 again. I think they could be better than that, but I would guess that if I had to read the media brethren tea leaves, if you will,
sure,
it's probably going to be Texas 1, Georgia likely 2. I mean, it's just how it's conditioned of.
So many, before Texas came in, it was always Alabama, Georgia,
right,
or vice versa. That was the way it was as long as Kirby's been there.
The Arch Manning hype, and so that's, I think, going to get that extra boost. And I mean, Texas has good players otherwise, too. It's not just Arch. So I think it'll be Texas 1, Georgia 2, Alabama 3 would be my prediction. I don't know that that's right or what I would do, but I think that's what.
Yeah, we're not saying that's Nick Kelly's prediction of order of finish of how he's going to vote, but when it's all said and done, that's how we anticipate that it would happen.
Who do you think takes a step back this year? Who is that team? Is it Ole Miss? Is it Tennessee because of quarterback situation?
I'll go South Carolina. I think a lot of people are really high.
Because the defensive guys,
they lost some dudes. I mean, Lenore Sellers, I think, is going to be a phenomenal quarterback. Yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal talent. But I think that I'll say this again and again, probably for decades, the most impressive thing that Nick Saban did was go into seasons when there's plenty of hype and be able to set aside what happened before, and just that continued success that he had was so impressive. And you look at South Carolina, they're riding a high right now. I mean, they finished last year really, really well. And can they handle that success well? I don't know if they'll be able to. Many times teams don't, who aren't familiar with that success. Maybe Shane Beamer keeps building on that. But to me, I have serious questions when you lose good defensive players like they did, and you just have to handle that success.
I do. I'm just curious. Are you envious of your media brethren there in Chapel Hill covering Bill Belichick and what's going on with Jordan Hudson?
No, I enjoy sitting back and being able to consume it, to be honest with you. I mean, there's probably money to be made, so to speak, in terms of content, but what a zoo that situation is.
When she has her tell-all book, and I came up with this on the air. You're going to be the judge. I got a title for the book. It's a tell-all book. The fisherman, her dad was a fisherman, hook, line, and sucker.
It's pretty good. Well,
is it good?
You know what the photo would be on the cover of the book, right?
What?
Her mermaid outfit?
Yeah, do you remember when he was dressed as a fisherman?
Yes.
And she was on the beach as a mermaid? I mean, you tailor-made for that title right there.
Yeah. Wow.
Maybe we just collab on a book.
See,
I can ghostwrite. I'll ghostwrite it for you if you
perfect.
want. There you go.
See, Nick, you came to Alabama kind of late to the game because back in the old days, we had former Alabama head coaches showering with their secretaries, and we had a coach that didn't even make it to the first game, and he was, at a strip club in Pensacola. So you missed the Alabama beat. Those were the fun days, man.
I'm going to knock on some wood because I just, in this business, like the moment people start talking about what could happen or what cast could ensue, I'm just like, I'm knocking on some wood. I don't know if people can see or hear right now.
Let me tell you something. Sports Talk Radio, man, that was, wow.
I cannot imagine.
That was a fun time.
Now you see sometimes the twisted mind of Pat Smith, how it got to where it is now. He had to witness a lot of disturbing stuff. And talk about it.
I was going to say,
and actually create some of it.
What are you talking about?
I was going to give you the benefit of the doubt a little bit.
I was an architect. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I was not.
By the way,
it's an innocent bystander.
Go and check the domain and who owns it, firekaylandabor.com.
No, I don't own that. That used to be in my old days. We would end up we would grab all the old domains of the people that we thought was going to be up for the Alabama head coaching position. Like I owned CoachFrankBeamer.com for a short time, and then I sold it. I was trying to think of some of the other coaches that I owned because we'd hear things behind the scenes of who Alabama was looking at, and I would go grab up the domains because Coach Franchione had CoachFran.com before he ran off to Texas A&M, and so we weren't going to be had again in the state of Alabama like a fraud that Coach Franchione was.
I feel like, are you familiar with the Sickos Committee? Have you
Absolutely.
heard of that?
Yeah.
It's kind of Sickos Committee stuff right there.
It was early. You know what I'm saying? Like we established that kind of stuff.
An original member of the Sickos Committee. That's impressive.
Thank you very much.
Pat destroyed a lot of families, Nick.
I paid my mortgage, though. I put 2 kids through college.
I didn't expect this was the way we were going to end my time with you guys today, but here we are.
Well, that is Nick Kelly. You can follow his work at al.com. Always great to see you, man.
Yeah,
thanks for stopping by.
Oh, it's always great, especially when it's less busy, to be able to see you guys and come out here to Social Tacos. So.
Absolutely. That is Nick Kelly. Follow his work at al.com. More three-man front. We're live at Social Taco. This is Jocks 94.5. Welcome back. It's three-man front, Jocks 94.5. Welcome back in. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. Appreciate Nick Kelly joining us the entire hour, the 12 noon hour, talking Alabama athletics. Fascinating, all the things Nick has been covering and what he will be covering coming up over the next couple months. Some heavy storms in the Birmingham metropolitan area. I saw where we've gotten over 6 inches of rain over the last couple of days. And because of all these spring storms, you need to make sure that your roof is 100% protected and you are good to go. So guess what? Free roof inspection. You need to call Abide Roofing today. Travis Lloyd and his team at 205-922-7134, and they can take care of you with that free roof inspection. There's no strings attached. There's no pressure. They just want to give you an honest look at what's going on up there and to give you some solutions if they find a problem. Now, it could be a simple shingle or two needs to be replaced. They can take care of that. If it's a problem like I had, unfortunately, on my roof, which was a complete roof replacement, they can handle that too. And the best part is that Travis and his team, they're going to be advocates for you. They're going to deal with your insurance company. My insurance company was dragging their feet, and I had to get Travis heavily involved. And you know what? He did that for me. And the Abide Roofing team, they were able to get me a brand new roof taken care of. The quality of workmanship is outstanding. I trust these guys 100%. Jason Standridge, oh my gosh, I can go on and on. Travis Lloyd, the entire team is just top-of-the-line dudes, man. They are great to deal with. They can help you today. Call them, 205-922-7134 or abideroof.com.
Is that's the same Standridge used to
Absolutely.
top out around 97?
Absolutely. Great famed pitcher for the Hewitt-Trussville Huskies. Also went on to play for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
I played against him in a little Legion ball.
And he also went over to the Far East and played in Japan and was highly successful. Yep. So, same Jason Standridge there at Abide Roofing.
He threw absolute gas back in the day.
He's fantastic. Just a great individual. The whole team there at Abide Roofing ready to help you today.
He was recruited by Auburn to play quarterback, was he not? Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah. Great athlete. Great dude.
Great team.
Very much so.
How are you, Molly?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Besides spilling chips over here.
Yeah, I dropped a chip.
What are you doing?
It's just, and then the chip just.
It broke.
I guess that's good. If they were stale, they
just disintegrated.
Break into a million pieces.
Yeah, fresh chips.
Other than that, though, you're doing okay.
I'm good. Yeah,
all right, well, good.
My chip I dropped.
No, just sulk on it for a couple of hours, and then we'll forgive you.
He'll be fine.
Hours.
All right, so Conrad, are you more excited now hearing the progress report of your Alabama Crimson Tide by Nick Kelly?
Hey, buddy.
Pat, I don't think I could hear anything to make me more excited or optimistic about this season.
It sounds like you're ready to run through a brick wall after what Nick Kelly told you.
I've been ready to run through a brick wall for 3 months, Pat.
Well, remember, I told you yesterday, we have crossed the Rubicon. We are closer now to the kickoff of the college football season than we are when the national championship game ended. How about that?
Yeah, that's the equivalent of leaving from the state of Alabama, flying over the Midwest, flying over the West Coast, going to Indonesia, crossing over Indonesia, and at that point, you're actually coming back.
I'm just really sad because I only have 111 days left on my Tua Advent calendar that gets me ready for the college football season. So,
that's cool. Do you have like little pineapple chocolates that you eat daily?
No, it's just I wake up every morning and it plays 2nd and 26 on a loop, and I just watch that every single morning until college football season starts.
Well, I will congratulate you. Your alma mater had the second highest APR score in all of college athletics. How do you feel about that?
I'm very proud of that. We were ahead of Harvard, but unfortunately, the Ohio State University just had to go and steal something else from the SEC. I guess they're all smarty pants up there.
When's the parade for that one?
It'll go simultaneously with the national championship parade, which will be in late January of 2026, Landrum.
All right, so it was the all-time high GPA for the Alabama Academic Progress Report, or the APR. They had a 3.50. The department average in the athletic department was 995. You had 10 teams led their sport in the SEC. 12 teams set or tied all-time program highs. 7 teams led the nation in overall APR. The football team had a 998 APR, which is second in the nation, first in the SEC. How about that? And if you're asking, Don probably wants to know, Auburn finished fourth in the SEC.
I think it's amazing that now we have athletes making more money than some of them ever dreamed about. Some of them, in some cases, millionaires, Conrad. And with all of that extra money at their disposal, all of a sudden, they're studying harder and making a lot better grades.
I think you're right. We need to see how many of these kids are in finance classes, right? Because that's what they should be doing, right? Landrum is taking this NIL, going to class, and learning how to smartly invest.
Again, I would love a survey. I would love a survey of how many, not just Alabama athletes, but how many athletes, especially at the Power 4 level, are attending a physical class.
Ooh.
Well, I can speak for someone that just graduated college, and it amazed me. He was not doing online-only college courses. He was supposed to be on campus every day, and he took 6 classes his final semester, and 4 of the 6 was online.
Yeah.
Like he never had to go to campus.
I think there's professors, a lot like people in business, that through COVID decided, you know what? I got the hang of this technology. I want to do it. But I said what I said to you, Conrad, of course, tongue in cheek. And Pat, I know that you were digging some stuff up. I just find it amazing that we have some of these folks that are making millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's where the negotiation starts, and all of a sudden they're making better grades.
That is amazing.
Well, they can pay the tutors more.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
Isn't that how it works? I'm looking at Bill Belichick. He's wearing a button-up shirt on ESPN.
Okay, so that's a button-up. Now, those bets were for the Strahan interview.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Take it easy. Calm down.
I know.
They made him wear a button-up probably down at, well, I don't know. Do they make you?
Now, according to Ira Schafel from War Chant, Jordan is not there. At least not yet at ACC meetings.
She will be.
You still maintain she will be?
She's at the spa.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think she's incognito?
She might be. Yeah. She might be really depressed after finishing third. It might be bonbons and a lot of guilty pleasure movies.
Well, maybe she's prepping for the Miss North Carolina pageant.
Or plotting to kill the judges who didn't vote her number one.
My goodness, you went very
dark.
It really was.
Put that.
Wow.
I will say, Landrum, if that was going to happen somewhere, I bet Maine is where it would happen.
Yeah. Are you kidding?
End up in a shrimp boat or a lobster boat?
Oh, yeah, you'll disappear real quick. You'll be whale food.
Born the daughter of a fisherman.
By the way, before we close this segment, brought to you by APR.
A museum curator.
The Ole Miss Rebels finished number 2 in the SEC. That's what happens when you get all those transfers.
In their APR, they did?
Yeah, they finished number 2 behind Alabama. At number 3,
blew Diet Pepsi out of my nose.
Number 3 was the Missouri Tigers.
Okay.
Ooh.
Where's Vandy?
4 was Auburn. 5, Mississippi State. South Carolina 6. Florida 7. Texas Longhorns 8. Vanderbilt was 9.
See, that tells me that Vanderbilt's the only school in the SEC still taking school seriously.
Vanderbilt has fully embraced the idea of, you know what, no need to go to school. Just
I was about to say that's the cost of success on the football field. The grades start to dip a little bit.
That's right.
No, they would normally be number 1. It's all these other inflated values that are putting them at 9.
Overinflated? Are you saying that Alabama and Auburn have inflated APR scores?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no.
I was making it clearly what Landrum Roberts was declaring on this radio show.
I think that it is easier now the way that it's set up for
success.
Success, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And good for them. Take advantage of the system. It's not the athletes that decided this.
Who do you think had the worst APR score in the Southeastern Conference?
Have you already said LSU?
I have not.
Then I'm going to guess LSU.
That's a good guess.
He's going to LSU. I am going to go up. You haven't named them yet. South Kakalaki.
I had already named them.
Okay.
So it's not them. The LSU Tigers.
Easiest question you've asked all day, Pat.
Tennessee was 15th. Texas A&M 14th. Oklahoma 13.
Can you imagine?
Arkansas 12.
They finally convince you to write that big check to the collective. You cave. You've been saying for years, I'm not going to do it. Finally, you do it. And then you see a headline that your school did not meet APR, or your guy is ineligible for a game, and you've put $2 million to help get him. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Well, if you listen to Jim Phillips in that cut we played for you from the ACC meetings yesterday, he's all about the scholarships. He's all about the school. We talk too much about athletics, Landrum, because athletics does not pay his exorbitant amount of money on his paycheck as a commissioner.
I can see the conversations probably already taking place where you've got that stern professor that says, I'm not going to round up. Nope. Failed the class. Do you realize how much money is? And by the way, that money is helping to fund your department. You don't think some of those conversations go on now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Because you got money involved.
I don't think there's any question about that. So, but text line. We have not had an opportunity. We've been so busy on the text line. 205-834-9450. I'll tell you what, let's go to 1-800-239-WJOX. Let's go to Las Vegas, Nevada. Someone that we typically see up here on Tuesday, he is not here. Gringo is in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm so glad you texted me last night and told me that you took the Guardians instead of the Phillies last night. So I hope you took your winnings and you enjoyed one of those classic buffets in Las Vegas.
Well, no buffets here, but I did take the winnings from the Guardians, and then I tried to throw it down with Verlander and his team, and that one came back and bit me. But we broke even, so cannot complain.
No, better that than being in the red.
Did you go to the In-N-Out Burger when you and Jim got there?
Not yet, but that is on the agenda.
Okay.
Well, we miss you up here today. It just doesn't seems kind of missing, doesn't it, not having Gringo here?
Well, Landon did text me a picture of the great crowd there, and I think that's fantastic, just showing the following that three-man front has there for your radio station and, of course, for Taylor and Dave.
No, it's a great crowd. It is fantastic. It's wonderful. Have a lot of new friends, new faces that we've been able to connect with today, so we always appreciate that.
Man, that is good, and we're just sitting here, myself and Jim, we're just waiting for the later baseball games to kick in. For now, we're just nickel and diming on certain horse races. I just hit one for $48 on an Exacta box, so things are looking good.
Exacta box.
Nice.
Wow, good for you, Gringo.
Good for you.
Man.
This isn't my first rodeo.
No. You still growing your hair out, Gringo?
No, actually, I went over here across the street to Single Barrel and had my ears lowered just for the trip out here because it was real windy here yesterday. And I know my hair would be flying in the wind looking like a body Adonis, but instead I got it cut and feeling better.
I felt like you would maybe try to rock a little ponytail there in Vegas and then come back and act like you'd never done it.
Well, I wasn't long from that, and I'm not against trying it again either.
Well, Gringo, enjoy the festivities there in the wonderful desert, also known as Sin City. So enjoy yourself and look forward to seeing you back here next Tuesday.
I will be back, and it's great to talk to you guys. And Landon, I'll be back on Tuesday or Thursday evening.
All right. Sounds good. I'll keep an eye on your place, and I will do what you asked me to do tonight.
Okay, yeah, good deal.
All right.
Good
Thanks,
deal.
Gringo.
All right.
Thanks, Gringo. Safe travels.
That'd be a fun trip with he and Jim. Jim's another guy on our
bowling team.
Yeah. Retired ABC enforcement agent.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm more interested in I'm going to do the thing you asked me to do tonight, the vagueness of that statement.
Yeah.
I got to go and collect our winnings from our bowling league.
Oh. You can. I mean, even Molly kind of perked up when she heard that. She was
like, "What's going on?
So what's happening?"
No,
here?
it's just it's collecting. The 9-month season is over.
For our
team.
Is this when you go with a baseball bat and you're the enforcer, like you're going to collect money?
No.
Is that what you're doing?
No, we bowl with some great people.
Okay.
Wonderful group of people, a lot like we have up here.
So
today,
we were talking earlier about the international games. This morning, the NFL Network announced 6 international games, and Adam Schefter, he just reported moments ago, as we kind of hinted about, that YouTube will exclusively stream the Friday night Week 1 game from Sao Paulo, Brazil. That's September 5th. That's a worldwide audience, free on YouTube. This marks the first exclusive NFL game to be streamed live and for free in its entirety on YouTube. So that game from Brazil, that will feature, supposedly, the Chiefs and Chargers. It has not been officially announced the teams, but we now know that YouTube will have the exclusive rights to that game. That's free, but it'll be on YouTube. How about that?
Nice.
So the NFL, just everywhere you turn, you can see an NFL game. Most of the time you got to pay for it, but
text line is open. 205-834-9450. You can always interact with us, and we've been so busy, haven't really had a chance to go to the text line today. Back from earlier, here's a question that was sent in from one of our great listeners. What is the difference between a wizard and a warlock? Well, I pulled it up. In Dungeons & Dragons, at least, a wizard is a spellcaster who gains magical power through extensive study and practice of the arcane arts, mastering a wide range of spells. A warlock, on the other hand, Molly, gains magical power through a pact with a powerful entity, often at a cost, and specializes in more focused set of spells and unique abilities.
That one sounds cooler.
Sounds like that's like selling your soul to the devil in order to receive those powers. Is that what you guys are gathering?
Yeah, but you're probably way stronger.
Yeah. Do we have a team nickname in any sport, the Warlocks? I just feel like there's an opportunity there.
Thank you for sharing that, Landrum. I wasn't going to be able to sleep tonight if I didn't know the difference.
From that, we go to this. I heard Ron Jeremy is going to make an appearance at Mustache Night. They're at the Barons game.
That's a good one.
Conrad, who is Ron Jeremy?
He is an actor.
Okay.
He does a lot of underground films.
Oh.
Like he's a miner?
Like a miner?
That is perhaps a role that he could have played, yeah. He has a number of films, from what I understand.
So, okay. So would he be like the mine worker? Would he be wearing the headlight?
Maybe a camera on his head.
Okay. All right, thanks for clearing that up.
You're welcome.
Jimmy asked, am I the only person that can see Bill Belichick is tanking the USC job or UNC job so his former assistant coach can get the job? Saban will look great in Carolina blue. Oh.
I think that job is going to Belichick Jr. when
Steve?
I think that is the plan.
Well, for the anti-Jordan Hudsons, if that does happen, then Steve's wife will be the first lady of Chapel Hill because she has already come out and publicly criticized.
Oh, everyone will love her.
Yeah.
All right, we will continue that conversation. We need to run to a quick timeout. But when we do come back, there is a developing story about Bill Belichick in regards to that Ring camera footage of him being shirtless on the porch.
Yes!
What?
Oh, yeah, this story gets even better.
What?
We will tell you what that's all about next on Three Man Front. It is 1:23, Jocks 94.5. Appreciate you tuning us in on this Tuesday. Every Tuesday we're here at Social Taco. Come on by and see us. Still got a little bit of time. Come on by and have a late lunch. So many other folks have done the same today. We're here each and every Tuesday at Social Taco from 10 until 2 o'clock.
I always tell you about our friends at Prize Picks. If you've never tried Prize Picks, well, warning, you're going to love it. You can download the Prize Picks app today. It's the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. Millions of members. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players and their projections for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. You download the app, you fill out all your information. If you enter, or when you enter, promo code WJOX, first $5 play, win or lose, $50 instantly back to your account. There's no catches. First $5 play, win or lose, promo code WJOX, $50 instantly back to your account. It's a multitude of professional and college sports that you can choose from, but in honor of Conrad Van Order, who loves watching the NBA, we will go professional basketball tonight. Conrad, are you ready?
I am so ready, Landrum.
I'm leaning on you. Denver and OKC. Jokic, more or less 28.5 points.
Oh, 28.5? I think I'm going to go less there. He's been right around the 25-26 mark on average a lot of the playoffs. So, yeah, I'd go a little less.
All right. How about Russell Westbrook? More or less 10.5 points.
Ooh, 10.5 points. You know, he's been playing pretty well lately. He's gotten a lot of minutes off the bench. I will go more than 10.5 for Russ.
All right, so if he scores more than 10.5, and if Jokic scores less than 28.5, me and Conrad are winners. You can be a winner, too. Prize Picks. Download the app today. Promo code WJOX. Important to remember, win or lose on a play like that I just described to you. It doesn't matter. $5, win or lose, you get $50 instantly back to your account. We appreciate our friends at Prize Picks.
Okay, so I teased it when we went into the commercial break. A little bit of news this morning, and it comes from Pablo Torre. He has been the most ardent reporter with this whole Belichick-Jordan Hudson situation. So let me take you back to last spring. Do you remember when there was a published video by the Daily Mail of Bill Belichick wandering shirtless around Hudson's porch? Now, Molly, was that the first time that I guess that was something that we had really seen for the first time, that Bill was out and about?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because I think what's her face? Him and his last girlfriend had just broken up not too long before, I think.
Okay. Well, according to Pablo Torre, on an appearance earlier this week on the Dan Le Batard show, he says that the Belichick family is nervous about how the video got out and what kind of leverage the leaker might have on Belichick in the future. Now, this is a direct quote from Pablo. The question I have as a reporter is, when I saw the video, is how did the Daily Mail get that video? How does one get internal ring cam footage from a home? How does that happen? Who has access to those videos? Let's say it wasn't Jordan Hudson. Who was it? And what other videos might have been taken without Bill Belichick's knowledge at almost age 70? So if you read between the lines of what he was saying in the podcast, I guess the feeling is that what other footage may somebody have, or was it leaked by Jordan Hudson to make the world understand that they had a relationship?
Did she have a roommate at the time? That would be my first question.
That's a good question.
What do you think?
Because could you not see, oh, you guys, you won't believe who my roommate brought home last night. Boom, let me go grab the doorbell footage, send it to somebody, then it gets passed around.
Yeah. I'll accept that theory. Or Hudson. I don't believe that somebody hacked into the account to ascertain this information and to put it out there. I don't. I think it was either Hudson, inside job, or... No, I think I'm just going to circle back to, I think it was Hudson that did it.
Molly?
So, read it. So they believe it's from November of last year.
The only
video.
doorbell cams we see are of people committing crimes.
And it says he was opening the front door of Hudson's $800,000 Massachusetts property. I don't know.
Wait, she has an $800,000 piece of property?
Yes, that was one of the things that I think you were actually. Let me go back. You were gone, but we did discuss her real estate portfolio since she met Bill Belichick is unbelievable. For a 24-year-old to have the investments that she has would absolutely knock your socks off, including that $800,000 home on Cape Cod.
She landed a lot of PR jobs here apparently in the past year. Yeah.
So you said that incident took place in November, but it wasn't released until spring.
Right.
The Ring camera. So Pablo Torre goes on to ask the question, so how else could Belichick's inner circle ensure that there is nothing else that could be monetized or used against the highest paid employee in the state of North Carolina? It's just a question that I can report now exclusively that Bill Belichick's family is worried about.
Was she building a file if he cut her loose, potentially, Conrad, as leverage?
Oh, I wouldn't put it past her one bit. You don't think – just the way that this whole situation has gone down, she has a backup plan. I don't know what it is, but she has to.
The Royal Pain on Twitter says, I'm telling you, Jordan has drive, and all she has to do is give Bill a wink. Maybe I watched too many spy movies.
So in other words, she's got like a dossier.
Yes.
So the whole relationship is blackmail.
Well, that's definitely what Torre has insinuated in this, or who actually has access to all these videos.
If it's blackmail, I ask this question. Have we been told the truth about when the relationship started?
I'm glad you brought that up because Pablo Torre talked about that, Pat, did he not?
Yeah, and there was also a story that came out, and I don't know if it's valid or not, that perhaps they met many, many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that same story?
Just keep going.
How old was she?
I'm not going to say how old she was because I don't want to put that out there. But
inappropriate.
There was definitely a story that they had met much earlier than what has been reported.
Before he signed the book on the plane?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because because she would have been 20, I believe, when that happened.
Did they sit next to each other on that flight? Or was she sitting nearby and she said, Coach, could you? Because if she ended up in that seat by him,
but you saw the same story I did. It wasn't 20 years old.
I say it's disturbing. I don't know if anything. I hope not would have transpired. But if you say the age, then people are automatically going
they're gonna think so.
Connect dots, and we're not going to go down that road. I'm just wondering about the flight. How does she? Was she sitting in another seat? Did she somehow land a seat next to Bill Belichick as a 20-year-old?
I like to think that it was just fate, right? They just happened to like a good rom-com, right? They just happened to sit next to each other. Maybe there was a layover, and so they got more time to talk.
It does happen. When we were flying up to New York last year, my wife and I did not have seats next to each other, and she sat next to AOC, who was going from D.C. back to New York. So it can happen, and we didn't pay anything extra for special seating. I think that there's some voids that we're missing in this story.
Here's the flight picture, Landrum.
Oh, well.
It's clear that
looks like that
he's in the aisle.
Yeah.
So they probably sat next to each other.
Oh.
Wait, is he in the seat or standing in the aisle? Because that would drive me crazy if I'm trying to board a plane and someone's like, hang on, stop, we got to take a picture.
Looks like they're sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
So, you like football?
Interesting.
Next 3 hours, I'm going to tell you all about it.
All right, so Molly, what did Bill Belichick say at ACC meetings?
Yeah, so he was asked about his girlfriend, obviously. He said it's off to the side, a personal relationship. She doesn't have anything to do with UNC football. I'm excited to be back in coaches' meetings. And that's all.
Right.
It's off to the side. It's a personal relationship. She doesn't have anything to do with UNC football.
There you go. All right, more from Social Taco. This is Jocks 94.5's three-man front. Paul Feinbaum Show coming up at the top of the hour. This is Jocks 94.5.
This takes us all back, right? Three-man front live from Social Taco. We appreciate all of our guests here in attendance today. We have had another knockout crowd here in the Terrace. We're here from 10 to 2 every single Tuesday at Social Taco in the Square in Homewood. I tell you about the half-off happy hour Monday through Friday, half-off drinks and appetizers. Not only the Taco Tuesdays, but also on the weekends they have a fantastic brunch. Heard Nick Kelly talk about it. It's the entire family of Soho restaurants, Soho Standard, Soho Social, but also at Social Taco. Social Taco, you get brunch on Saturday and Sunday. 10 to 2:30, the Bottomless Tapas brunch. It is absolutely incredible. SocialTaco.bar for more information.
All right, let's do some Pat Ponders. We do it each and every day. I come up with 5 questions. They give me 5 answers. Brought to you by Courtesy GMC.
What you're thinking? Tell me what's on your mind.
It's time for Pat Ponders.
Brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trussville. Get out to Trussville. You don't have to drive anywhere else. Head out to I-459 exit 32, right next to Lowe's. You can't miss Courtesy GMC. Question number 1. For Dallas Mavericks fans, how much does winning the NBA draft lottery last night lessen the blow of trading Luka?
Well, I think that it lessens it somewhat, but I think that Arden Harvey NBA fans, as much as they like to think, Lucas aren't grown on trees and they don't come out in every single draft. They rarely come out. So it lessens it a little bit, but I wouldn't even call it a silver lining.
No.
It would be like a faded aluminum lining.
It helps, and it's cool, but I'm sure Mavs fans are still quite angry.
Bitter?
Yes. I don't think that's going to help it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I kind of disagree with y'all. I think if you're a Mavericks fan, I'm not saying that this 100% fills the void, but you're going to get Cooper Flagg on a rookie deal. He is a different player than Luka, but he might be what you need, having Kyrie, a guy that already has to have the ball in his hands to kind of be the best version of himself. So, again, doesn't fill the void 100%, but I think this is more than a Band-Aid. I think this makes you optimistic about the future of the franchise with Cooper Flagg, Kyrie, and AD for at least a couple years.
All right, question number 2. You're a weary traveler last weekend, staying at the Holiday Inn by the Bay in Portland, Maine. Would you have gone down and watched Jordan Hudson's attempt to become Miss Maine?
Yeah.
Like I said, you just happened to be in the hotel. Like you weren't there as a paparazzi.
Yeah.
You weren't covering it. You just happened to be there. There's a hardware convention going on down the street, and you needed a place to stay, and you're there, and then all of a sudden, Miss Maine contest is happening.
What kind of hardware are you talking about?
Antique hardware.
Oh.
would.
Yes. Kill some time.
Why not?
When traveling, I told you I go to museums. I would not go to that museum, but I have gone to places. No, I wouldn't, Molly. Absolutely would not. I go to the first floor and talk to her mom.
How much do you think it was to get in?
That's the question.
And then the reason
you
I
have
asked,
to pay to go to pageants?
Yeah,
gotta have a ticket.
Costs associated, Conrad.
I don't know. I just assumed those were free.
How about this? There were pageant websites over the weekend that you could have bought like a daily package to watch the actual Miss Maine. And like you can watch pageants all over the country. And I mean, it was like $400-something for like a season subscription for this thing.
Like a TV package?
Yeah, it's behind a paywall.
Y'all coming back next weekend for Arkansas?
They didn't sound like that in Maine, but
No, I'm talking about just random people that
was the Arkansas person.
Around the country that watch these pageants. Get into it.
Because I was actually going to try to watch it, and I was like, "Are these people on crack? What are you kidding me? $400-something to watch pageants?"
Do you have to bring a bouquet of flowers if you attend a pageant? Isn't that traditional?
Like pageant TV or something.
Pageant TV?
There is a pageant TV.
How much?
I don't know how much it is, but I know it exists.
It's Pageant Vision TV.
Yep.
I didn't know that was a booming industry.
We've got Miss Illinois USA prelims coming up on the 23rd.
So you're telling
time
me
trials?
Pageant TV is more expensive than NFL Sunday ticket?
Miss Oklahoma.
Look at all those dreams coming true.
Let's see.
Sign in. You have an account?
No, I don't have an account. I'm looking to see if I can get to see how much it would cost.
Register.
No, I'm not registering.
They don't have like a 1 week free trial or something like that?
Video packages.
Is there a message board for these people who watch this?
Tighter and cider for pageant
Where's
people?
Miss North Carolina? No, go back. Click on Miss North Carolina.
They're just hating on
Miss Nebraska
on different
but see,
contestants.
that already happened. Unless it's Miss Nebraska
Well,
America.
I think this is what this is just like. You can go back and you can actually
Miss
watch.
Pocogee County absolutely got robbed there. What do you expect, Pocogee County?
Right.
And then just the back and forth, Conrad, of the hate between the pageant fans.
Now that you say that, I do want to see these message boards. I bet
All
they
right,
are nasty.
You know they're nasty.
If I want to purchase the Miss Illinois preliminaries, it costs me, just for the preliminaries, it'll cost me $38.99.
Worth it.
Just for the prelims?
Yes.
What, Molly, what happens in prelims? I'm asking you because I know Pat doesn't know.
So I think.
Okay, that's fine.
Again, I don't know much about pageants.
That's fine.
But usually there's prelims, semis, and finals.
Okay.
And then semis would be like your top 11 or something, and I think your finalists are like your probably top 5. I could be totally wrong.
So this is like the quarterfinals of a pageant?
What's more boom for the buck if we're going to pay to watch one of these? Would it be the finals or the prelims? You think you get more?
I mean, you definitely get more with prelims, but finals is when they announce who's Miss Illinois or whoever.
Does every pageant have their own song at the end when they crown?
I don't know.
There she is.
I don't think they use that anymore.
What song was that, Landrum?
But the there she is, Miss America. But does every state have their own designated song that they play or is it like walk-up music? Winner has, like they handed the audio person.
I don't know.
I'd love pageant walk-up songs. That'd be awesome.
Pageant walk-up songs?
That'd be great if that
What
was
would yours
thing.
be?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it. That's hilarious.
I think we've created something.
Yeah, we have.
All right, next question.
We could be like the NFHS of pageants.
Oh, yeah. Do you believe Jordan Hudson was really banned from the UNC facility?
Yes, I maintain that. I think that she was. I think that they were told it's not a good idea for her to come to the facility. I think Belichick had somebody, or he made a direct call to somebody higher up and pitched the fit, and that's when you got the statement from the University of North Carolina. Yeah.
I don't know if she was banned because that seems a little harsh, but I do think maybe a stern talking to was probably had because it kind of has become a distraction. I mean, I would be distracted.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of closer to Molly. I don't think that she was outright banned, but I think there was probably discussion along the lines of, hey, it'd be better if she wasn't here.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a hard suggestion, maybe?
Yeah, so not like, an official ban where, there's a security guard out front with her picture making sure she doesn't walk in, but yes, a suggestion that she should maybe not be around the program.
All right, final question of today. It's from BB, who is sitting just a few feet away from us. One of the questions that she has posed to us in Pat Ponders, if you could be bilingual, what language would you speak? Listen, you got him stumped.
Well, I mean, Spanish is the it would make the most sense, right? It's the most practical. We would be able to make the most use of it. But I don't know if I can just speak any language. I've always thought it'd be really cool to be able to speak Japanese.
That's a good one.
And be able to write in Japanese.
For Conrad.
That would be mine.
BB's shaking her head.
I'm going Venezuela so I can have a conversation with Ronald Acuna Jr. without an interpreter.
Was that not Spanish?
Yeah, does he not speak Spanish?
I don't know.
He definitely speaks Spanish, Landrum.
Don't the people in Venezuela speak Spanish?
I assume that maybe it was a variation of Spanish.
Well, I mean, in Brazil they speak Portuguese.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I got you back.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. Molly?
Maybe French. I took 2 semesters of French in college, but I don't remember much. I liked it.
All right, so
oui.
Conrad's
Bonjour.
going Japanese.
What's the most romantic language, BB? Would it be the most romantic language? Would it be French? Would it be Italian? Italian. Yeah. Italian would be a good one.
Yeah. That would be a good one. What? Are you bilingual?
Do you speak Venezuelan?
Oh, Russian.
Russian
for BB. Interesting.
That could come in handy.
Great question.
If you're a spy.
We will continue with the BB questions as I cycle through those. Great questions, as always. We're live at Social Taco. Come on by and see us. We've got a few more minutes to go. Come on by and say hello. Have a late lunch right here at Social Taco. This is Jocks 94.5. It is 1:51, Jocks 94.5. The Paul Feinbaum Show is coming up at the top of the hour. Once again, I want to thank everybody for showing up today, each and every Tuesday here at Social Taco. The service has been outstanding.
Yep.
As usual, the food has been fantastic. And, of course, the Jocks 94.5 listeners, best in the country. There is no question about it. Showing up this afternoon. I want to remind everyone that Mac and Cube will be live tomorrow starting at 7 a.m. at the Regions Tradition. The Pro-Am will be going on. Some great guests lined up for Mac and Cube. You can hear Charles Barkley, Kalen DeBoer, Hugh Freeze, Nick Saban. Will just be a few that will be in attendance tomorrow and have an opportunity to sit down with Mac and Cube. Moments ago on ESPN SportsCenter, Bill Belichick. This was his sit-down at ACC spring meetings.
I know that you're aware that your relationship with Jordan Hudson has been a headline over the last few months. And all of the specifics aside, because a lot has come out in the last couple of days, how do you think that impacts your ability to coach this football team, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, that's, really off to the side. It's a personal relationship, and she doesn't have anything to do with UNC football. I'm excited to be back in the coaches' meetings and getting ready for, June, and then August when we get to training camp. So June will be a big recruiting month for us, and then August we'll start to get ready for the season.
Okay.
There it is.
Well, nothing to see there. I guess we just move on.
I guess not.
It's over.
Well, she has made herself a part of UNC football.
Yeah, so when he says
as
that's
a good PR person, she should understand that.
Well, when he says it's a side situation.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. And the reason why is because she invoked herself into it during the CBS Sunday morning piece.
Yep.
Because if she would have sat there and not said anything at all, this would not have been a story.
He's a grown man. I think he could handle it himself. But
I mean, he coached in the National Football League, and it was the highest intensive pressure that you could find in New England and Boston, dealing with that media, especially towards the back end when things started going bad after Brady left. I think he can take care of himself.
Well, and just to insinuate that the person who controls your brand and your image as the head coach of a football program, that doesn't have any impact on the football program itself, that's just a ridiculous statement.
Very much so. So by him saying, there's nothing to see here, let's just move along. I mean, you chose this by naming her CEO of your company. Did you not think that somebody was going to raise a question? And he is the highest paid employee of the University of North Carolina. Do you think a couple of taxpayers in that state might have a question or two about what's going on with their money?
Maybe.
I mean, you asked Nick Kelly the question earlier about, if he were covering North Carolina football. I know a few people in the Carolinas that cover this program, and they are absolutely loving it. I mean, because let's be honest. I mean, there hasn't been much drama when it comes to North Carolina football.
Hey, he goes out there this year, and they finished 9-3 regular season, 10-2. I think a lot of this, it does go away. But now without ever seeing him coach a game and can he have success at the college level, then you parlay Jordan Hudson in this whole sideshow that has become the main show. Look, you can get away with a lot if you're winning, but the scrutiny will only continue, and it'll continue, especially if he starts struggling.
Yeah.
How confident?
It will be her fault and his fault.
Well, I was just going to ask, so how confident are y'all that this could actually be a successful year for North Carolina? It just seems hard to see that right now. I'm not saying it can't happen, but from the outside looking in,
if they played in the SEC, I would be all doom and gloom. But the fact that they play in the conference they play in,
fair enough.
There will be some Saturdays where they can just roll out that pretty helmet.
That's very fair. Because based on the lack of enthusiasm out of the transfer portal and what they were able to grab, I mean, that's...
Besides Clemson, how much buzz is there really around any other program right now in that conference for the upcoming season? I mean, there's some.
I mean, some with Miami.
A little bit.
With Carson Beck.
Maybe a little Louisville.
Yeah. Well, it's been a great day. We appreciate everybody stopping by and enjoying the outstanding food here at Social Taco. We'll be back next Tuesday right here on Jocks 94.5. We'll be here tomorrow in studio from 10 until 2. For Landrum, Molly, Conrad, I'm Pat. Have a great afternoon. The Paul Feinbaum Show is